friends, this is the Be Real Babe podcast, a place where your average babes come together to talk about life stresses, messes, and successes. A place where being yourself is the ultimate goal, where your opinion, your story, and your individual experience matters. Join me, your host B, and my guests for real and raw talks every week, laying it all out there so we can all help each other learn more, grow deeper, and evolve collectively. Now keep in mind, as a disclaimer, no one here is an expert and no one is giving any advice. This is strictly our opinions, thoughts, feelings, and for entertainment purposes only. Now with that being said, it's time. So grab your drink, grab your joint, and let's jump right in. Welcome everyone. Welcome to the Be Real Babe podcast. If this is your first time here, thank you so much for stopping by the show today. I hope that you have a good time. And if you're a returning listener, watcher, supporter, thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart for coming back time and time again. For those that don't know me, my name is Brandy. I am the host of the show. And today you guys were on episode 227, Being Real About Losing a Parent. You guys, I have one of my most favorite returning guests coming back for her 11th episode, Ms Hollie G. And as usual, guys, it's a beautiful, raw conversation of me and my girl catching up like we always do every year because I have to have Hollie on almost every season. She has been on the show, like I said, for 11 episodes now, dating all the way back to 2021. This woman has been friends with me for over a decade. I am so honored and so proud of her. I don't think I've had such a long, strong friendship with anybody, and I'm just so honored that to call her a close friend and call her family. And watching her go through losing her father was definitely one of the hardest things that you have to watch one of your friends go through. And so today I'm really proud of her for coming on and talking about what it was like to lose her dad and just catching up on what's new with Hollie G, because this girl's just like me and always has shit running at 100 all the fucking time. But before we get on to this amazing episode, I just want to remind you that you can like, subscribe, and turn on notifications on Rumble, Apple, and Spotify, depending on where you're listening, where you're tuning in from. And if you want to find me on social media this year, you can find me on Instagram, on TikTok at the Be Real Babe or the Be Real Babe podcast. And don't forget that I am on YouTube twice a week on Mondays and Wednesdays at the Be Real Babe show, exclusively on YouTube. So you get to listen to your babe 3 times a week. Fucking you're welcome. Just kidding. I'm crashing out soon. Yes, I will post bloopers at the end and remember this color and remember the season because I'm crashed out hard on this episode. At the same time, I'm going to leave some of the if I'm going to be real in any fucking episode is going to be this one with Hollie G. I'm going to leave some of this shit in because there was chaos between my cat, her kids, technology, everything that you can imagine, but at the core of it, 2 very close sisters, Sagittarius sisters that love each other so much and can just have the greatest conversation, and 2 hours felt like 2 fucking minutes. So let's get to it. All right, babes, it's time to get on to the show. And with me today, I have the most special return guest ever. Welcome to her 11th episode. Hey, babe, Hollie G. I'm so excited, girlie. 11.
11. Crazy.
Thank you. Thank you for being here through the whole fucking thing, man. 2021 we started.
Thank you.
Like,
yeah.
I mean, not started our friendship, but.
Well, yeah, but like podcast-wise.
Yeah, before
like
that.
4 years.
4 years, man. Yeah, it'll be 4 years
For
this
podcast.
March.
And we've been friends for 11 years?
Probably something like that. Something that, I think we've seen each other through every single season except for, the early cringe 20s and, youngs. But, the
I think
most
it was,
broken adult to most healed adult, I think.
I feel like 10-ish feels about right, because Sadie's 11, so that tracks.
Yeah, because she was just a little bean. Yeah, and you brought, I think it was it banana bread? Pumpkin pie. That's what it was.
Pumpkin pie. I 1 year love with pumpkin pie.
Yeah, that's what it was. And I was like, yeah, she brought pumpkin pie. We're talking about art, and then it was just, it's just cool though that our friendship has evolved, just in our, what we're doing in the world, but how we artistically create, because when we were in real life, we would do photography and modeling together and makeup and hair and all that fun stuff. And then now it's okay, I haven't created with Hollie for a little bit. I need to get on with her ASAP.
Truth. Yep.
I just lost my phone. Sorry, 1 second. But I had, just in honor of your 11th episode, even though we just went over it, but for those that want to know the lore and how far back this goes, Hollie's first episode was episode 8, which was March 2021. We were talking about, it was a month talking about mental health and different experiences with depression. We had all different kinds on there, postpartum, like clinical, some people that were medicated, some people that weren't. Back then, we would talk about an episode and then we'd have our guests come on in several different ones. I used to always think about that, like, it wasn't just like now, it's just like two of us. But anyway, so episode 10 was hormones in April 2021. Sorry, not hormones, birth control.
Yeah, birth control. I mean, same,
Yeah.
same-ish.
Yeah, same. Fraudulent hormones. Episode 17, you were on a bunch with a different bunch of moms with childbirth in May 2021. Episode 27, medicinal cannabis, June 2021. Episode 37, parental pressures, September 2021. And then we take a jump. Episode 58, small business during the pandemic, when you hairdressing in March 2022 in Alberta. And then episode 107, 137, both in 2023, we're being real with Hollie G, catches up in life. And then we took a turn to 179 and 198, where we talked about what the actual internet. And then today we have a whole new topic. But prior to that, how was Hollie G for the last 6 months since you've been on the show?
Oh, a lot has happened in 6 months.
I know. November 2024.
Okay, so November 2024. Okay. I'm in a new studio space. I moved out of my home studio and into a new studio space with a friend of mine. I have my own healing room there, which is amazing. Uh-oh, I can't hear you anymore.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah, that was weird.
Just
Are you
really
just nothing? Okay.
Yeah,
okay. I was like, what is happening?
I'm sitting back more in my chair because I realize I'm always like, so I'm trying to like sit back under the light.
What else? Yeah, studio space is the newest. I have been in there since the beginning of May. So it's like a full month in there now. That happened very, very quickly. And like by surprise, I basically had a friend, who was a friend of a friend, and she came over for a haircut. She's in the industry also. And she was like, do you ever think about like moving out of your house for work? And I was like, I don't really know. I like it here. Meanwhile, she's noticing that I'm like trying to make changes over Christmas, of like bringing new shelving, renovating my hallway. And she's like, she could see that I'm trying to make it more than what it is, but I'm in full on denial because it's scary. But I was like, you know what? Like, I'm open to it though, if like the right opportunity came up. And I
stars align.
Said that out loud, and then here we are. But no, it was funny because I have a couple of friends who are in realty, and I'm not good. I don't know anything about commercial realty, and she wanted me to body double her to go look at a space. And this realtor was like kind of dicking her around and like, how much are utilities? Oh, it's up to the renter. And we're like, yeah, but like we would want to know that.
Okay, look,
why would you not tell me that? And she was kind of outgrowing her space that she was at because of the accessibility. Like she has stairs, and a lot of her clients are elders or elderly. And yeah, I was like, hey, I can hook you with one of my girlfriends who's into realty, and she can help you out. All right, come body double me. I want to go look at the space. And we got the call to go look at the space. That same morning, I get a message from Sean. HR is in their office letting them go because they're closing shop.
Oh no.
So I was like, this is like what, mid-March, end of March? I like the 20 something of March. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh shit. Cause I'm like, we're probably going to be putting in an application for this place. Yeah. So it's a leap of faith. Of course. We got keys at the beginning of April. Sean got laid off, was not working mid-April. He hates when I say let go or laid off, but like, but like, a lot of time it is what it is. Yeah. Right? I'm like, they closed shop, man. Like, it's the layoff. It's not the end of the world. It doesn't like look bad on you. But he found a better job. He's working a better job with better hours, better pay. Still oil field. Oil field, but like home every night in a warehouse. So like stuff that he knows, but like $2 more an hour than where he was for like 8 years. So like amazing. Everything is falling into place, but it was just like, I was like, yeah, I mean, like I walked in and my friend Alex was like, hey, like you could have your own healing room. I was like, don't tempt me with a good time. And yeah, we knew the building. Zadie's, like my daughter's therapist used to be in the building. So nice. It was actually in the same room. So we got keys, we painted walls. I have my own healing room. We have just me and her working in the studio. We have a back room so we can like mix our potions and have snacks. And then we have like a little lounge area for retail. So like we're feeling pretty damn bougie about it right now, actually, because everything that I wanted to do, I can actually do now. Because I was like, I'm physically limited on space in my home, and now I was having issues with my not issues with my dog, but you know when it's like overstimulation and you're like, like yeah, my dogs were loud, dog hair everywhere all the time, and I'm just
Home
like to
business
have
is a
clients
lot.
and like I can't turn off. When I'm
No.
home, I can't turn off. So now I can actually like leave at the end of the day and just like go, and we love that.
Absolutely. There's perks and then there's not perks. I'm really blessed because I only have people coming over one time a week for class.
Yeah,
But even then, like, and it's nice for me because it holds me to a standard to make sure the house is like, not that
totally.
anybody that comes to my class would say a fucking word, but that to me it's just like, in my head, I'm like, tell yourself they're going to judge you just so that you make sure that everything is nice and done and you're just held to that standard. But sometimes, like,
Yeah.
to your point, like this weekend, Grant's home and, I didn't have anybody book at one point, and I was like, hey, if no one's like around this Sunday, Grant's home, I'm gonna shut down for the weekend. I'll move it to Tuesday.
Yeah.
And I was like, not that it matters and not that anybody would say anything if I didn't do all my dishes or if I didn't sweep, like right now with the cats and like, but to your point, like you just always like, I gotta clean the bathroom for sure because someone's gonna go to the bathroom. I won't clean the
Right.
upstairs bathroom, but you know what I mean? So it is like,
Yeah,
but
100%.
there's perks of like, oh, I don't have to drive anywhere and there's stuff, but at the same time, you're just like, shit, and I got to be on some things that I wouldn't have to be. So there is, but I can see having
Yeah.
continual clients. Like for myself, I've only had like photography clients. So or like I said, for classes, but it's been like an hour, 2 hour bites. It's
Yeah.
not all day, every day for weeks on end. So I can imagine that like, and see, even with work, I work from home, but I actually still go out 3 days a week to the office. And it's
Yeah.
so nice because that's that break from even the cats. It's like, I need space from you. I need you to just not see me for
Right.
5 minutes and scream.
And the AC at the studio is like on max to be like that right now when it's super, super hot because I can like walk in and be like, oh
Totally.
my gosh, this is lovely. And then the other piece with that too is like we're central, like it's basically downtown
So across from
Grand
co-op?
Prairie. So yeah. So
Yeah, no.
with that being said, like now most of my people are like, oh my gosh, it's closer for me to get to you. So
Ugh.
I'm actually able to see them more frequently because they don't have to rearrange their schedule to come see me. I have a couple
Mm.
of clients in the building. Like there was some other moving pieces of that too that I'm like, actually it's expanding. I'm like, yeah, I just added a rent to my,
Of
you know,
course.
my monthly ish stuff. But at the same time, it's like, okay, but I just expanded and it gives more space.
Yeah,
As for my
absolutely.
space, for my activities.
Well, and on top of that too, not only is that can that grow and you open up space to fill it. We always like, sorry, not to be rude, but like if there's space, Holly G's gonna fill it. Like you're just like me. Like you're going into room. Like if there's plain walls, there's gonna be color on the walls. That's just how we do. We just fill rooms, right? So right, like, and I'm not meaning that in any other sense of just like the energy, right? Like I don't know, there's more
Yeah.
quiet rooms around us. Like
I know it's funny because I had one client who was like, "Oh, your walls are kind of like a little clinical," and I was like, "Girl, you should have seen it before. Okay, this is way better." Plus, myself and Alex are very similar, but like different fonts. So our
totally,
styles were like, we don't really want to have like the fun colored walls because we want weird ass art. We're gonna have like
absolutely.
the plain canvas of like the the smoky white or whatever, and then we'll have like some weird ass art in there and plants and just make it
Well,
ours, right?
and there's a difference when you're like renting a space that at some point you're gonna have to put back to like status quo versus your own house or like
Yeah.
something you own, right? So it's like the and to your point, I'd rather put money into stuff that I could take off the walls and move with me if I'm moving
Yeah.
spaces where it's like your home, that's your home, right? So
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
but it's super exciting to see and I was really glad to see the leap. And I actually used to get my nails done there. That's where I used to get my nails done before I left GP. I would go and get my nails done
Yeah.
right across. It's right. It's like the corner building right across from the co-op. I don't remember the
Yeah.
street names. Yeah, yeah. I used to do that.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Yeah, I'm excited to see because I just like all of the things that you can do can be facilitated there. And I was to say, it's not just your business that's expanding. Your family's also growing at the same time too, right? Like the girls are growing up. They're getting bigger. They're
Mhm.
wanting their own space, their own. I'm
Yeah.
sure their own personalities and like not that they don't. I'm sure they hate that, but it's probably a lot managing, little ladies with like spicy attitudes and a home business and then two sassy puppies and then, it's a
Yeah.
lot at one time.
Yeah, Sadie's already called dibs on that room, and I'm like, girlfriend, I don't even have the sink out of there yet. She's like, I want the smaller room because it's less for me to have to clean. And I'm like, okay, but
Touche.
like you guys share a bunk bed, so like I don't anticipate it happening right away. I
Fair.
might have it like our like crafting room for like a little bit because it's also gonna take a bit to figure out like, okay, well if I like it's the bunk beds I think were like a gift for the two of them. So like, what does that look like for me to get another bed? What does it look like to get them another TV? I also don't think I know that they really want that, but I can't actually foresee them doing it. You know what I mean? Like I'm like I
Totally.
spent my entire childhood with my little sister, and we had a very similar age gap, like
Yeah.
Zadie and Ray,
Yeah.
and I miss it now. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? I'm like,
that's
man, I
fair.
used to hate it, but at the same time,
Of
we're never really
course.
alone. Like,
Yeah.
and when Zadie's not here, when she's at her dad's, Raina's in her bed. So
Yeah.
like I'm like I don't foresee them
Needing to have
wanting
it.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be split up, but I feel like having that room is like maybe a creative space, so that me and Zadie can go in there and craft or work on like projects. That maybe that might be like the solution for right now until she's maybe a little older, until we
Yeah.
can kind of navigate that. But we'll see.
Or even
Yeah,
having it like a fun adventure, like maybe set up like a bed, like a tent, like a blanket tent or a sheet tent in there
yeah,
and have like a sleepover in there one night as like a camping fun, like, easing into it, but not necessarily taking over the whole room, but like maybe
I
making
like
it a
that.
fun, like, yeah, make a sheet, like, whatever, you're fucking
Or like
creative.
like
You know
a
what I'm trying to say?
day bed, like a
Yeah,
day
something.
bed, or
Yeah,
like
like
a
a living room
canopy, and
bed.
have that
Yeah,
girls' night in there, and just like yeah,
exactly.
we could. There's a lot of space in there. I just don't know how to get. I wasn't in a hurry to get the sink out of there because the kids still like to wash their hair at home. So I'm
Oh,
like, well,
yeah.
that would still be like I could still like pop them back and wash their hair. So it still has like the way that I can still have a creative space in there. I might build like a little bit of like a table, not a table, but like a desk over the top of it, so I can still do like admin things in there. So it's like a home office. Um, but like I'm not in a big hurry,
Ugh.
but
It's a piece of you
yeah,
too, right? Steps. Like
yeah,
and you never know, maybe one day you're just like, what if I come up there and you just like, I guess you want to do the
yeah,
new studio. I guess it's yours, but like, maybe it's an after hours. Some, you never know. What if you just want to do
yeah.
your own hair? It's just nice. It's a part of your history. And if you don't need to move it, then I get too, like just put a desk thing over it. And just like you said, make it an
Yeah.
admin desk.
And I think the hardest
Nice.
piece of that, like the move itself, was hard because
Of course.
Dad helped me do that room. And I think that's like the piece that came with it. Dad helped me do that
Yeah.
room. He helped me paint those walls. He was so proud of me having my home based studio. And I feel like I'm like, I know that this is like a really great thing. And it's like more than I could have ever hoped for. And I remember him having conversations with me like a long time ago, being like, hey, like, do you ever think you'll like move out of your house, Lon? And I was like, ha ha ha, you're so funny. I think I'm good. But like at the same time, it was like during the pandemic and stuff like
Yeah.
that it was like, I'm grateful that I didn't have a space because like, could
Yeah.
you imagine
No,
how hard that
not
would
with your
be?
restrictions that you guys
Right? Like
had. No.
I can't imagine. But I was able to like the loops that I was able to do because I was able to have clients, which was also like, one-on-one conversation.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, because it
Totally.
was in my home.
Yeah.
So like and I was like, plus, I think it was more so like the financial piece of like, oh shit, could you imagine having like all those additional expenses and not being shut down essentially over that? So I'm like, at the time, I was like, ah, hell no, I can't really see it. But
Yeah.
now it's like, holy
I see
shit,
nothing
like,
else.
but like now we're here, we're doing it, and like this, I have systems in place, so it's feeling good. And I think I was more stressed out of the fact that it felt so good, versus like I was freaking out because it wasn't freaking out.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
like it felt so aligned that I'm like, all right, we're doing it. Don't know how
Like,
we're doing it. It's
where's the
happening.
vomit? Where's the
Yeah,
vomit?
like where's it happen? Like when's
Yeah.
the other shoe gonna drop? Essentially, like what's gonna
Yeah.
happen?
Fucking
But
hate that.
like
But I love it.
Alex is, but like with Alex, it's like so easy to have a conversation with her because it's like I'm not in there on my own.
No.
We talked about like the worst case Ontario's. We talked about all the hard things, and she knew that I had some like previous, you know, some reservations about it from having not so great collaboration.
Totally.
So like all of those pieces were like it's meant to be, and she's good shit. She's good shit, and we're
And
also like not like overstepping on each other's toes. Like we're all like communicating really well.
yeah, as a team, as it should. Would dare I say that maybe Dad put it into the world first, and when you were in the space to step into that, you called it to being, and then it became?
Totally, and it's funny because Alex sounds like my fucking dad too. Oh, like some of the shit she'll say, I'd be like, "You just
No.
dadded me. You just
I
dadded
love
me."
that. I
And
love
like she never
that.
had that like, and she's like a fairly like a new to me friend too, right?
Yeah,
Like we've known of each other.
of
The
course.
joke is that she was my stalker because she's I've been following you for a long time, and I was like, you following me? She's like, yeah, like you don't think I'm just gonna work with anybody, do you? And I was like, I don't know.
I don't know.
So yeah,
I'm like, I'm susceptible to cults, man. So I'm like, oh, cannabis and cats in a van? Fucking stop
let's
me.
go.
Let's go. Like, what are you talking about? I'm so easily manipulated by words. You don't know me well enough yet.
Oh, and then yeah, so our ongoing joke is that she's my stalker,
Yeah.
and that she was watching me, and then she like lured me in. But like
Well,
honestly though, I went willingly, and I am yeah, I'm really loving it.
I
Like
love that
we're
for
quite
you.
happy. Yeah,
Well, and you
yeah,
know what? Sometimes it just happens all at the right time when it's meant to. And like I said, like
yeah,
before, not maybe the best time. And
yeah,
now, like, you know, with Sean and like you said, home in a position now, it's like your guys' home is your home now too. And I'm sure there's a
yeah,
part of him that enjoys that, you know, while understanding there is the risk of, okay, well, this does come with a cost. It's not something that you guys couldn't do or you couldn't, you know, it's just having that risk of like, okay, well, this is an added cost, right? And so I
yeah.
think that's what a
It
lot of,
looks
but now
different.
it's a shared cost, right? And it's a
Yeah,
shared, it's just something different when you're having a friend there or, you know, a business worker turned friend or however that may be, just to take on some of that stress together. That's not at your home. That's not just dumped on your spouse or your friends. It's like, that's what you're in
yeah,
it for and you have the same common goals. So it's like, not the bitching or the complaining is like almost wanted because it's like, oh, it's going to advance our business together. It's like a comment where it's like, yeah, like obviously we want, couldn't tell if one of the cats were screaming.
yeah,
Veggie's got his spicy ginger energy right now, and I'm just like afraid he's gonna come flying through the door. You know, it's just like not that your spouses don't care, like, but when I'm talking to Greg, even when he talks to me sometimes about the oil field, like I'm listening, babe. But the amount of knowledge that I have with what the fuck you're talking about, I'm kind of like,
yeah,
uh-huh, like, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
it's just it's really
yeah.
great to have that. So I'm glad that you have that now and that you're having it with someone
Mhm.
that, you know, comes with the same passion as you do, but then also knows who you are and sees the kind, powerful person that you are, and like in all the ways that, you know, we're unique Sagittarius psychos, you know, and embrace that because that's nice, because it's like I don't want to dim my
Yeah,
light, and I feel like that's what we've both experienced, sometimes in collaborations, is that like we're not able to fully be ourselves and be authentically
yeah.
ourselves. We have to dim in some form of way.
And like not used to taking up space. And like that's the other piece
Yeah.
too that I'm like always running things by her. She's like, you know, I don't care, right? And I'm like, but like I do though, and I'm still
Yeah.
gonna always ask because like that's what I'm used to.
Mhm.
And then you know, it's like those pieces too that I'm like, I'm not. Excuse me, sorry. I'm not used to like taking up space. And like she's also a blended family, so even with those
Mhm.
stressors, we can like talk about things that
Relate.
are bothering us and relate. And I'm like also to have somebody to like bump ideas off of for business, for color, you know, formulations. I can bring the
Anything.
kids and it doesn't feel like it's a problem. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
like they have somewhere to be. They can hang out in the potions room because that's what we call their back room is a potions room, of course.
I love it. Yeah.
Um,
Makes
so like
sense.
the kids can come and they have some space to do like their crafts and stuff like that and their art.
Yeah.
Um, it just feels like I don't have a word. It just feels fucking good, man. It
Aligned.
just feels a lot. But like it's not even like that's not even like the word. It's
It's
not
not
even a wordy
enough.
enough word. It's not
Mhm.
enough. It just feels like so fucking. It's not a wordy enough word. It's like it just feels
Sorry,
so fucking
jeez.
like I know, right? I was like,
Aligned.
there's not.
Better.
It's like there's not a word. I just like I can't like and I can't.
Just trying to put more into it for you.
You're right. I'm like, but it doesn't come with a word that's like enough to
Yeah.
explain it because it just
It's just a
like
feeling, a knowing.
yeah, like am I moving in? I should have moved everything at the once, but my stupid ass was bringing like bags in at it. Like I would go like every day. Anytime I was going
Yeah.
in like paint, I would take a bag. Um, up until like my last client in the home because I don't see a point of moving all of my stuff for one cut.
No.
But then I got there and it was before my chair was in, and I looked around and I was like, "Fuck, I don't think I belong here."
Mhm.
Because Alex at that point was already working,
Yeah.
and I was like, "But like I should be here, but I'm not here yet." And she looks at me, she's like, "It's because you're in two places at once.
Mhm.
That's not gonna work for you. Get your shit here.
Yeah.
Move in already." And I was
Yeah.
like, why am I so afraid of? And it was just because it was such a big change and it happened so fast
Mhm.
and mixed with like all of the emotions. But I thought I was handling it so well, but turns out I actually just was like disassociating. And then like the first week that I was there, I was like, holy fuck, this is my life. Like this is what everything I could have thought that I wanted. And it's
Yeah.
literally in front of me. And we don't know how to celebrate that because what the hell is celebrating ourselves? And like it just came with like a holy shit, we're doing the things. But then I was like, okay, but like I got everything in there and I'm like, okay, this feels like a home away from home now. This feels like I can putter around and just kind of figure out where I want to place things, like what retail I want to bring in, and make my space my own. So like we're good now. It's my second home. We are thriving. It
In
feels
the
really
middle
fucking
is
good.
the in middle, in the between, in the middles, and the transitions. Those are always like that though, right? Because at the time
Yeah,
you're maybe having an ego death of what you thought maybe this would look like or what you, and then I don't know if you're like this way because I always just reevaluate. It's like because I'm moving on and growing, even though I know it's a grow and the step forward, is like, did I fail what I was doing because I'm leaving it?
yeah,
Because, you know what I mean? Even though it's a weird thing because you're leveling up in another sense, you're like, no, I'm growing into what I want and I am doing these things. But then there's a part of you that is like, am I shading the person I was before? It's just a weird mental thing. If you do you
it is.
experience that too? Is that fair? Or is that a
Yeah,
weird thing I got going
yeah.
on?
No, no. I feel like it's part of like
Mourning
you
your
know that right
past
before
self.
you. Yeah, it's like mourning
Yeah.
your past self and like recognizing like how far you've come.
Hmm.
But it was like I really do think the biggest hold on it was honestly all of Dad
Yeah.
because
And
like
that's,
he
yeah,
it was like because that
perfect
was the room he
segue
held too
to,
and I was
yeah.
yeah, so I think that a lot of it was Dad. But
Yeah.
I know that he'd
That's
be
fair.
very happy with where I am, very proud. It was just like I felt like I was leaving him behind in a way,
Yes.
which I know
Yes.
is not true. We're gonna
No.
cry tonight. Hope you're cool with it because
That's
we're just
okay.
gonna.
I'm sorry. And that's why I was like, you let me know if you can talk about this because I know
Oh, I can.
with Courtney it was we cried too and I think it's beautiful and please do and that's it's but
Okay.
I also like to the point of is it's not an easy thing to go through and that is
No.
very fair and I just love how you process stuff because you're like me you kind of process it like outward and inward but you process
Yeah.
like falling forward if that makes sense like I'm figuring this out
Yeah.
as I'm going through it at the same time right like
Hundred
so
percent.
I think that's 100% what held it back because it's like, for one, it was a dream that he always supported you in from number one. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, all things he has. Don't
Yeah.
let get us twisted. Dad's always supported Holly in that way, and she's
Yeah.
always in that way. But I think with this, it was like something that for the most part growing up we would say that this was like a more a taboo thing it was like go to school you know don't be an artist don't and you know and this was just a way that spoke to you and you were always good at it and you did try other avenues and your dad seen right through that so I think he was one that out of all people besides me whatever that cultivated that part of you and really was like no push into that that's who you are
Mm-hmm.
even though the practical side is saying no that's silly like do something that makes sense like you know and you're just like but that doesn't make sense to me even if it makes sense to you and I think your dad was always the number one cheerleader for that at the same
Yeah.
time he had a physical hand in that physical studio so by you going to a new one it's like when I throw out something like a card that someone that's passed away given me it's like I'm not throwing them out
Mm-hmm.
I'm not throwing that memory out it's just I can't hold on to cards from 2001 anymore like we've got to move on from the card some things you know there's
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
but you know what
I
I'm saying
getcha.
right
Yeah.
so that's what I feel like probably for you but it's just like wherever you go he's fucking gonna be right so and maybe
Yeah.
that's why the sink is gonna stay there for a bit right like and that's okay if that's a part of him that stays there it's like well guess what when I'm thirsty and I'm staying there and sitting in the spare room and I have the pasties there's a fucking sink right there.
You know, I think what I might do. I know there's a picture that he had taken of Zadie, and they were painting my wall in the studio in the house, and it was like it had Zadie's name with a big heart, and I think it's like Zadie loves mom is what she had drawn on the wall in paint, and Dad had taken a picture of. I think I might print that off with a 4x6 and just frame it and put it in the new studio, as well as a couple of family pictures, because I
Of
also can't
course.
just have a picture of Zadie and not of Raina, because she would lose her mind. Um,
Absolutely very fair.
right? So I think that that would be like taking a piece of that studio with me, and I think that'd be a great way to honor him. Yeah.
Totally, absolutely. And that's a fair thing. And like, and that's why I think I wanted to have you on too to talk about it because it was same thing with the last episode with Courtney is that everyone grieves differently, but no one talks about it.
Yeah.
And I think that is
No.
why you started talking about it, like not immediately, not like but you immediately started having circles and conversations and support to those around you because you know how important community is and how talking out and like healing forward, I'm going to say like falling forward, healing forward is really cathartic sometimes. And I think we got to keep it in, and we got to, and nobody wants to talk about it. That's why I'm like, even now
Mm-hmm.
dancing, like we've been friends for how long? Same with Courtney. Like you two are like my longest standing friends. And I was still like trying to be very thoughtful of what I'm saying because I don't want to upset you guys. At the same time, I know you guys both know that these things aren't talked about much. So,
Mm-hmm.
anyways, going too far ahead. So, and not far ahead. Sorry, we're in the future. So I think you should incorporate the piece of your studio because yeah, your dad cultivated that
Yeah.
for you, and I think that's great. I
Yeah.
mean, if you want to throw up some pictures that I took of you guys back in the day, whatever. I mean,
Ooh,
whatever.
yeah, we shall. There's some good ones.
There was. That's why I was like, he's one of my favorite dads. I never had to make fart noises or convince him to smile because he always did.
No.
And he got everyone else to smile. I'm like, can I hire you, please? Can I just take a video of you of like what every father should be in a family photography?
And he became friends with you on Facebook and would like
Yes.
send would like share your pictures or like love everything and send you happy birthdays. Like he really just became like the dad of all of my friends and like my sister's friends too. Like that
Yeah.
was honestly, yeah,
You
he
could
just
feel that.
became the dad of
Yeah.
all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I felt that. And then I was always like we talked about, like I've never had a great father figure, and I think I always just looked up to him that way, and that way where it's just like I'm not saying he was perfect, or I'm sure he had his faults.
No.
All most
Yeah.
men, most people do. We all do. But
Yeah.
just like whatever that was, when I met you two, if there was any of that in the past, like it wasn't apparent. It was very like clear that he was supportive, that he,
Yeah.
really was there for you in all ways, and I just never experienced that in my entire life, and I was like, this is so cool. Like it just made me understand that like not all dads were bad dads, and it was just really nice to see that, even like you said, we say not everyone's perfect, but he was very
Okay.
supportive of you.
No,
So
he was definitely not perfect by no means, but he was
right.
definitely still the person who would he would always help anybody that he could. He like when I say like he could have gave like he would give the shirt off his back to somebody. I've seen him do it. Um, you know what I mean? Like he always was like really kind to. I remember him driving downtown St. John's back home, and there's a little lady, and she had always had a cart full of fur coats. So this woman had an obscene amount of fur coats, and they were all real. She was very wealthy, but chose not to live in her house. We don't really know the story behind it, but was not all there mentally. So she would walk around with her cart, and Dad would like stop, to, like let her walk across the street, and this lady would like bang on the thing. He was like, "Why don't you just fucking run me over?" And like Dad was like, "What?" And like so he's always given like the whole like humans are still humans.
Mm-hmm.
We're kind, very kill them with kindness, spare them with a smile. Was his mentality. I know, like I feel the only thing that I regret would have been, you remember how like the whole truck convoy? Of course you do. The whole
Yeah,
truck convoy. So,
might be familiar with it.
so for context, okay, Sean's Indigenous.
Mm-hmm.
I am not Indigenous. My parents are liberal. They're in Newfoundland. They don't understand how Alberta works. Okay, no shade. Um, Also, my sister is, and she has a wife. You know, she's a lesbian. So, like, of course, that looks different. Different way of life. Okay.
Totally.
So, for context,
Yeah.
so I remember me and Dad having a full-on argument about the truck convoy. Now, I wasn't really playing any role. He's like, "I'm just surprised you're not." He's like, "I'm surprised you're not there." I was like, "Why? That'd be a waste of my money to drive all the way to Ontario on my freaking SUV." But I was like, I'm also like for free speech. I believe that that's important for people to advocate for themselves. And he had made some like slide comments about like, "Oh, you're just supposed to be watching Rebel News or whatever." And I was like, "Okay, Dad says the one who's just watching CBC, who's owned by Trudeau. Like, like, come
Yeah.
on."
Yes.
And I was like, I'm not playing devil's advocate. The devil doesn't need any more advocates. But at the same time, there's always two stories, and no matter what way you want to look, there's always going to be somebody to side that way. So
Totally.
I was just trying to like I didn't want to talk
Balance.
about it really. I was trying
Yeah.
to find that balance, and it wasn't that I didn't care, but I also knew that like if I talk about something, I'm going to go down that hole, and your girl's not coming out, and it's going to affect every part of my living, breathing day. So I cannot put all my attention into one thing like that. And I had said something along the lines of like, "Oh, like whatever, they can do their own thing." So I know that me and him had like a really shitty argument, and we didn't talk for a while. and we had no, like, I deleted all the text messages because some of them were just mean. I didn't want to like catch myself rolling back through them because I recognized that was from a place of fear.
Yes.
And and it was like a weird time to be alive, right?
Oh my God.
So, oh,
Twilight
so, and
Zone.
100%. It's like apocalyptic. Like, holy shit! Like,
Oh,
Did we jump timelines or some shit? But like, I look back now and I
way back.
recognize it was from a place of fear. But
Mhm.
I felt bad because we never had like those text conversations after that. And I don't really have like, I don't have anything from him to reference again. Um,
That's fine.
I, I can't really hear his voice now. I might every now and then I'm an idiot and call the house just to hear his voice because his voice is still the voice note. His mom hasn't can't change it, right?
Mhm.
She can, but she won't.
Mhm.
Um,
I wouldn't
and just
either,
like,
probably.
and I can't delete his number out of my phone. There's some stuff, right? That like I like there's parts that I'm like I know that like I got to talk to him the day that he passed. Like he passed the afternoon. I'll tell you about the day of if you want to hear it.
Yeah, of
Um
course.
but I feel
Whatever you want
like
to share.
I don't get to like reference text messages from him. I get to go back through like Facebook messages of like the dad jokes and the stuff like that. But like it's just different because I'm like I know that I talk to him every day, maybe multiple times a day, and it just that was a really hard adjustment after he had passed because I'm like I know I call people because it's usually because I don't like to sit alone in my feelings.
Mhm.
But at the same time, I'm noticing like I also can't expect my dad to come out of my friends or my mom. It's that
Very fair.
expectation because I'm like, but he was my hype person. And I'm
Yes, he
very much
was.
learning how to hype myself when I've never been told how or shown how. So now it's like, I feel like I'm like a newborn, like, I feel
Teenager.
like Bambi. I feel like
Yeah.
Bambi. I feel like I'm like just learning how to walk and like I'm just like because I'm like maybe I had been a little codependent on
Hmm.
that hype or it's just like he's still cheering me on just in a different realm. Is what
Yeah.
I like to say with it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, that's he's cheering you on for fucking sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No doubt about that. Like no doubt about that.
Yeah.
And back to your point though, I think that's a really good takeaway that I think for people for one, 2 points. One, if you're fighting with someone right now in your family or arguing about something that for the most part is not in our control. Now I know politics and all that has been super heightened for the last 4 or 5 years. And as Canadians, we're not like Americans. We're not versed in it. We don't know how to do. We're working our way through
Yeah.
it. We're trying. So I like give grace to everybody like through the pandemic for it, whether what side you were on, upside down, other, left, right, center, doesn't matter. Everyone was
Yeah.
operating in fear. Everybody was operating in fear because there was different machines pumping out different narratives and looping you into the algorithm. We didn't
Yeah.
understand that. I don't think we understand group think as much as we did back then. So there was a lot of stuff where, and considering we're on the opposite sides of the country as well,
Yeah.
they really did pump. Like it is very liberal on the east side versus the this side where it's a lot more like quote unquote conservative. If we want to label that as Canadians, I just don't think we're just that political, but it became that, and that was new for us, I think, to deal with that through family. So I think it was just really
Yeah.
unfortunate timing that you guys had to go through that around the same time because that's not, I don't think in general something that you guys fought. I don't think that you wouldn't argue about stuff normally. So I think that's very
No.
relatable to a lot of people that through the pandemic, they were fighting and arguing with family members that they wouldn't normally be fighting and arguing with. And so just
Yeah.
wanted to say, like, if you're in that now, like, if you can, I think your advice would be like, reconnect over it, like work through it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, are these big fights to be really had about politicians that we don't know? They all suck, right? So like, not saying you shouldn't have conversations, and not saying that you should allow family to run all over you. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is like just make sure you're not letting it destroy good relationships. Not that it destroyed you and your dad's,
Yeah.
but it's obviously
No, but
something
it
that's a pain
definitely
point for you.
yeah, and I think it was just because the two of us are very stubborn too that neither of us were going to take any ownership. Like he just continued on as if it never affected me, and
Fair.
I was not the one who was gonna try to re-bring it up because sometimes when you're that afraid of something or like that set in your ways, you're not going to necessarily hear what I have to say because you're so far in there. Plus, like
Mm-hmm.
my mom and my sister are nurses, so like you hear that like healthcare side of things, which isn't always the way, but I understand the point of view.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, they're on an island, so they're already isolated. There's like a lot of pieces that kind of came to be around that same kind of timeline, that I do believe that um like he did consume too much of what was going on, and I do believe that that might have like the stress and the just like the overwhelm of all of the fear could have been a contribution, because he was such a kind-hearted human that he was doing so much for everybody else,
Mhm.
that I don't know if he really, I hate speaking ill like that, but at the same time, like, I know my mom had made a couple of comments. You thought your dad was a saint and da da da. And I'm like, well, for one, he put up with you, so yes. Um, but in being that being said, and I had this conversation with my sister a little while ago, because my sister and my mom have had a bit of a different relationship now too, because me and Aaron, we were dad's girls,
Mhm.
right? He did everything for us.
Yeah.
If I had, like, even after he passed, I had a leaking sink, and I was like, who the hell do I call? Always call dad. My poor buddy Mike, he's been my best friend for, like, years, and like
Years.
whatever, he'd come fix it. He's like, Jesus Christ, all, you have a boyfriend, you have a man, you have a fiance, ask him. And I was like, but he doesn't know. He's a
But
nerd. He
it's a
doesn't do the handy thing.
dad.
So like I can call like one of my cousins, which would, like, I guess he would almost be like an uncle to me. Like, him and dad had a lot of similar characteristics. Um, I called him back in Newfoundland to help me with a leaky sink. And I was just like crying on the phone, because it's like, wait, I don't know what to do. I was like, I Googled, I don't know. And it was just like the silly things, right? Because like dad had always had like a way of, like, he was handy, but I never knew how
Yeah.
handy I was until I was in my 20s.
Mhm.
Because he was a liquor rep growing up, and he did like sales and stuff like that. But like the man had made this really cool coffee table back home out of old wine crates,
Oh,
and
cool.
I so badly wanted him to make me one. So I had like a honey-do list. Now, the shitty ass part was he passed away a month to the day that he was supposed to come visit me.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I remember conversations on the phone. It was like the fucking night before he passed. I called him, and he's like, "What's up, babe? This is kind of late. What's going on?" And I'm like looking at my yard, sitting on my back step, and I'm just like, Dad, I just really miss you. I'm really excited to see you. And like, it would be like a month tomorrow. And I made a joke, because he had had a minor heart attack like
Mhm.
a couple of months prior, and um, from my understanding of it, he was doing well. And we were talking, and they had pushed his like follow up,
Mhm.
which in my brain was like, oh, that's a good thing. You're doing well then. You don't need a follow up. It was a fucking terrible thing, and they fucking screwed him over. But I thought that meant that he was doing well.
Mhm.
And I made a joke. I was like, do you and Sean want to, do a roof this year? You guys want to do the roof? Because that guy needs a roof for Bear. And he said, babe, I don't think I'm going to be able to do as much as I used to when I come up. And if you knew Lojo, Lorne, my dad, he would have never ever admitted to not being able to do something. He would have been that person who would have done it until you're like, Dad,
You need to
sit your ass
stop.
down.
Yeah.
Go sit the fuck down
Yeah.
and eat something. Like,
Yeah.
he would have been the one you would have to tell to slow down. So
Yes.
I do think in a way that he had known something. There's a couple of things that he had said, like, I don't know if I'm going to be, like, I think the way that he said it, I took it like a, oh, ha ha ha. But I feel like he didn't think he was going to be coming up. I think he had a hunch that he wasn't going to be here. And I look back now and I'm like, fuck, he knew. Because I would talk to him, like, even the morning of, I was having such a shit day trying to get my kids out the door for school. And Raina, being a toddler, she had broke my sunglasses. Right off the hop, we're already pissed off. Left my phone at the house,
Rude.
and typically I take my phone, hook up the Bluetooth, because I fucking hate commercials. Okay, hate commercials, drives me nuts. So I there was something else that happened, and it was just like a crappy start to the morning. We slept in, our alarm never went off, whatever. We're power rushing to get out the door, and I left my phone at home, and I usually call dad on the way after school drop off. Because the time difference is 3.5 hours, and he would just, like, we would just chat for like a, hey, good morning, how's it going, that kind of chat. And I got home, and I called him. I was like, Dad, like, you should have seen my morning I just had. What the hell? Like, that was wild. But, I really did try to, like, to stand. I was like, I'm like really proud of myself of how I got to, like, change my mindset on it, because like I never really liked those sunglasses. in the first place. My full,
Yeah.
that meant I had to like wait some time. The
Mhm.
kids made it, like Zadie made it to school on time. We never
All of
really
these
like,
positives.
none of that was important, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just talking to him and I'm like, hey, like, what's up? What's up, Dad? And I was just really tired. And I'm like, oh, like, did you get some rest? And we're just chatting and it was normal.
Mhm.
And that was like 8:30 and by I was he was supposed to come up to visit, and that night before too, I started painting my walls, and the way of my house, the layout is pretty open concept,
Mhm.
and I think I'm gonna do like a dark gray, and Dad's like, I think you might make it look like a dungeon. I'm like, I don't know, we're gonna do it anyway, and I was sending him pictures. He's like, actually, that looks really good. So I was like halfway through painting my. I just had a haircut. One of Shaw's buddies came over for a haircut that day. And I was like halfway painting my living room, and my mom calls, and I remember the call, and it was like, she was like, Holly, do you have a sec? Your dad passed away. And I was like, what the fuck? And like, cause mom is also a terrible deliverer. Now I can't remember if that was the context of it
Yeah, that's
because
fair.
it was like a blur. But
Yeah.
at the same time, it was like, mom's the type of person who will like, hey, are you sitting down? I gotta
Mhm.
tell you something. And then you're just like, okay, who died?
Yeah.
But it's always something like super minor. Oh, like, oh, your brother has COVID. And
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
the fuck? Okay.
I have a
What?
toothache.
What?
It's like, okay.
You need to work on your delivery. Um, like
Yeah.
what?
The lead up
But
is not
like right.
satisfying.
So it didn't feel like real.
Real.
And then I just like I was home and Raina was here and Raina's only little and she's just trying to help me fucking paint. And I was like, girl, don't please try to help me paint. Everything's like moved to the center of my living room because I was like really wanting to get this done. And I had this like honey-do list for my dad. So I was like, oh, if I can get some of this stuff done, then I can have like a proper visit. But he
Yeah.
always liked to do things while he
You
was
did.
here.
Yes.
So I was like, okay, well, like, so I just sat and I just was like, I don't know what to do. Like, I was like, what do I do now? I was like, my kid's at school, like, I had to pick her up and tell her the news, and it was like a blur. So like, my first call was Sean, and he's like, holy fuck. So he ended up being able to get home a little bit early. I think I don't quite remember that part. I called my friend Rianne, and she's like, okay, I'll be there in 10 minutes. And just like hung up the phone and came over, and she's like, what do you need? And I'm like, I don't know. I just need to cry. I'm just like reminiscing and just like bawling my face off.
Yeah.
And I call my buddy Mike, and he's like, because Mike and me grew up together. Like we've known each other for what 16? Oh my god, 18 years, something crazy.
Fair.
And um, he's like, he also like drops everything. And, well, not maybe not drops everything. And I was like, hey Mike, I want to tell you like the dad passed. He's like, what the? And I'm like,
Yeah, that's not
yeah.
something you expect.
And he's like, do you need anything? I was like, I'm okay for right now, but if you, he doesn't usually work Fridays. Like, if you can come over tomorrow, um, like I would really love it if you can grab us a bite to eat because like we were supposed to do groceries and just have it. So he brought over breakfast for me and the kids,
Nice.
and he gave me the biggest hug, and I don't think I've ever seen Mike cry before. And then the two of us are bawling, and
Yeah,
I'm like,
fair.
because like he's like my big brother, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't handle. I have a hard time when men cry. It's so hard.
Yeah, don't
Especially
do
the
it.
ones that we like. Especially
Just
the ones
kidding.
that we like.
Yeah, I like only making ones that I don't like cry.
Ah, so
Like Trudeau, please cry more.
right? But like when we like the ones and then they cry, it's just really hard. So like Mike just like gave me the biggest hug and he's like that. He's like it's sucky because the way that things went down, like he was your person and he's like I think if roles were reversed and it was mom, it would be different. I'm like 100% would be. Not saying that
No.
it would be different either way. So it's not his
Yeah.
intention to sound shitty.
No.
Just um
That's your support
he just
system,
knew.
though.
Yeah, he was my support. And me and mom, we're not like estranged or anything, but mom doesn't get me the same way. And I noticed like even when I explain myself of like my things that I need and the things that I want, it's like she has a different way. This makes me sound shitty. I hear myself, but um she just has a very different way of communicating with me. So like if I was going to dad to like, hey dad, I have this idea, and oh like yeah, like tell me more about it. Mom's like, well like yeah, if that's what it feels right for you then, or like yeah, if you have time for it, you're awfully busy, aren't you? And I'm like, okay, but like don't like dull my sparkle right now. I would like the people who are into my Delulu situation, like continue to hype me up even though, because it's going to be my life and you're going to tell me I have to do something, I'm going to do it 10 times harder. Like that's the
A
one thing.
hundred percent.
As my toxic trait. I know
Yeah,
it, but
I
at the
think your
same
dad
time,
knew
like
that too. No, just kidding.
dad knew it too. No, but he did.
He
But
did.
it's like funny in ways because I'm um,
It's using it for
like
the
just
greater
like
good, though, right? Like it's using it against
yes,
you for the good, not for the bad.
yeah.
For sure.
Well, like,
Yeah.
but it was like I remember like in high school, I won like textiles. I won an award for having the highest textiles grade. And like
That's
you know
not
like there was
shocking.
like awards. Well, there was like awards for like math and English and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And I got textiles, and I remember my dad like standing ovation style, like you see in the movies for textiles, and I was like, what the hell? Okay. So then like just like it's just things like that. Like I even have like a little area of like books that he had or like books that I had given him, or
Yeah.
like I introduced him to the Foo Fighters. And I have like a little pile of things that just remind me of him.
Yeah.
Um, but like even when it came to hair stuff, like he, when I think I told you the story when me and Zadie's dad split. I moved out of the townhouse. Dad came up and helped move me. He made a really funny joke and said I should have put um some shrimp tails in Chris's curtain rods because it would have stunk out and he'd never be able to find them.
Oh my gosh,
And
that's so diabolical.
this is my dad. This is my dad. This is a little joke. He's like, you should have put shrimp tails in there. He
Fucking
would
prank.
find it and then he'd have to move out because he couldn't figure out where the fucking smell came from. It would have been perfect, Hall. And I was like, you know what? That would have been epic and petty as hell.
Love
Right?
it. We're here for it.
And like of course after any break I'd be like, I never even liked him.
Fuck
Right?
that guy.
Like, I
Yeah.
never liked him. Fuck that guy. You deserve better. And he doesn't know what he's missing out on. And he's like, make sure you clog his toilet. And so he helps move me and I'm into my new space and he helps like I think we had like a crew of a couple of people to carloads across town. And he like it's always stuff for me had to go back. I'm like, fuck. So that was a spot that I shared with like up and down with another girl. You know the other girl. It doesn't matter. It was just a terrible situation. It ended.
Mhm.
It's okay. It doesn't matter.
Things happen.
But that time that I was living, I was like it was kind of semi the ghetto, but it was like a good deal at the time. And I was working two jobs as a single mom in it. So I was working at the salon. This is when I went back to the salon for a bit. And because we never learned my lesson. Yeah.
No, we
okay?
don't. We have to do it
No
a
lessons
million
learned yet.
times. We need it to be punched us in the face with it.
Continually, not just once. It's like a
18
fucking sucker
times.
punch a million times. Because like that, I think there was a period of time that like I first had Zadie, and then I was until like I moved into my house that I went through like 9 jobs in the span of like 6 years or something. It was like outrageous. Now, mind
I
you,
do remember
it
that.
was like we hit a couple of recessions. I was following the money. We weren't aligned with what anything I was doing. Oh, hi, little man. Oh, it's a ginger baby.
I can't stop. I keep touching him with my foot and distracting myself, so I just grab him.
There, give him snuggles.
Yeah, give him a little cuddle.
Yeah, so like I went through like a lot of jobs and I was not learning my lesson, and my lesson obviously was that I was not meant to be working in the office like that, but I was working at a salon. Not a corporate girly, but like maybe if I made my own hours, but like not in the way that I was. No. Some of the stuff I was liking, but I was like working myself out of a job. It was because it was like I was almost too efficient, and I never had enough challenges. If that makes any sense, I was actually like creating jobs for myself to get done because I was that like bored. So I was working two jobs at the same time.
Creative flow. Like I feel like when you're a creative person, being a corporate girly, it has to be something that you're like uber passionate about. So like if you were at like the top of like Matrix or something like that, doing like hair, you know what I mean, something like that, where it's like Excel spreadsheets are fun. But it's like unless you're at that level, sometimes it's just, to me, it's like I can do corporate girly stuff because I love cannabis. Like we talk about fucking strains and how we're gonna sell more weed and
nerd out
this
about
weed,
it.
right? I nerd out about it. So it makes the corporate life and all that worth it. But if it's not, it's a huge burnout. And so for you, it's just like you see the creativity of what you do when you help clients and you do their hair and their makeup and all that versus like, not saying you're not good at, you're good at amazing at everything, but it's not challenging you in the ways that you need.
I also am trying to unlearn the fact that like I always said that I was not a numbers girl. And it's not that I'm not a numbers girl, because numbers don't lie. And I think that that's a piece that sometimes scares me, because I have always had this like idea in my head that I'm bad with money. but I'm not. It's
Well,
just
you tell
like
yourself that you will
I
be.
tell myself this, yeah, right? Like that's like that's a
Damn it.
learned thing. That's a
Yeah.
learned thing that I'm
Yeah.
trying to unlearn.
That's
But when
hard.
I was single momming it was hard because I knew it was just me. So I'm like, okay, if I'm a single income home and I need to provide, then I'm
Hmm.
gonna fucking hustle. And hustle is great within reason because if you
Yeah.
continue to hustle with no end time, you're just gonna hit fucking burnout, and then you're not good for anybody. Okay. So I don't remember a lot of this time that I was single momming it and working two jobs, but I remember having pre-packed my car because I was doing a shift at a roofing company, and then I was working a shift at the salon. So I had all of my my salon gear packed and my diaper bag packed. And I was sharing a space with another person because I was only part time at the salon and I was fairly new. So I would always take my stuff with me because I didn't want it to get lost, and it was expensive. Fuck,
Yeah.
like this industry is not cheap.
No.
So I say I had probably about 5 grand worth of hair stuff. Okay, so like my shears, my dryer, all of my hot tools. My shears themselves were worth more than my very first car.
Yeah. Shit's expensive.
Shit is wild. I remember taking payment plans out on that bad boy back in the day. It was fucking wild. Okay, the swivel thumb, the ergonomic, all the
Oh,
fancy bougie ones. And
yeah.
then my diaper bag had like Zadie's puffers and her
Mhm.
just like medical devices for that, and just I was ready to
Basic
go.
baby stuff.
I woke up the next morning. My car had been broken into. All of my shit got stolen. So I called the salon. I was like, "Hey guys, I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do. All of my stuff's gone," and I had to go into this job that I was like this corporate job was fairly new. And it was like I was only there like for a fucking week or something. And I had a friend who had a second vehicle, like her and her husband just shared the vehicle and told me I could come take their truck, or they met me while I dropped off my car to get back.
Yep.
And I was like, holy shit, what do I do now? Like, is this do I take this as a sign I quit the salon? Do I stop doing hair? Because like I was back doing it, but I was like not the same environment that I like. And I know that I don't care who you are in the hair industry, everybody has had a shitty experience at some point in time with either a
Oh,
shitty
yeah.
salon or a coworker or something goes sideways. I've heard it a million times. I've lived it
Hmm.
at least 3 times in my industry, and that was
Oh,
within,
corporate girlies are the
like
same.
before,
It's everywhere. I think it's
right?
just something that
It's
you learn.
everywhere.
Just like
But
in
it was like,
school, you didn't
uh,
like everybody in
yeah,
class, right? It just
and
happens.
right, and that's okay. But I
Yeah.
feel like just like the salon gets sometimes like you almost have too many different personalities, and then it
Yeah.
turns catty. And like apparently, I'm in one of the bitchiest industries out there, and I am like one of the least bitchiest people out there. So I'm like, I don't know how I ended up in this industry because I'm definitely not the one who has her nails done all the time
No.
and is like, oh my gosh, you know what I mean? Like I'm not. But anyway, so I decided that day that I was apparently going to quit the industry. Okay. I called my dad and I'm sobbing on the phone and I'm like, Dad, I don't know what I'm going to do. I was in between paychecks, so trying to figure out how I was going to even pay for my fixed vehicle.
Yeah.
I was hauling ass and I was like, I had nothing to show for it. And I didn't even have my own insurance for like my dental care or anything like that at that point. I had nothing. And I never even had insurance to cover Zadie's fucking asthma stuff. So I was like,
Yeah.
what the hell am I going to do? Um, and I was like, oh my gosh, okay. I went back to the corporate job just for the time being because I'm like, I can't turn around and justify forking out anything. And I'm also that person. I don't hold on to double because why the fuck would I want that?
Yeah.
That's a waste of stuff. I don't need that. I mean,
No.
I had an extra hair dryer at home, like my personal hair
Yeah,
dryer,
but
like my personal flat iron and stuff like that. But it's
yeah.
not like I never had extra sets of shears. I never had extra sets
Born
of
with a
clippers,
silver spoon in our mouths. What are we doing?
right? Like 100%.
Fuck.
So like so dad came up that year, like later on that year. I don't remember the context of why he came up. I think he came up maybe for Zadie's birthday or either way, he came up and it was like a couple months later. And his first stop was big Five Guys Burgers and Fries.
Yes.
And
So good.
I took him there and he's like, okay, I need you to bring me over to a beauty supply store. And I was like, what? And he's like, I just need you to bring me in there. And I was like, okay. He's like, he picks out clippers and he picks me out a pair of shears. And he's like, this is going to be my most expensive haircut yet. And he He's like, and he just like brings it over and he brings it through for me. And I was like, he's like, I can't see you not doing what you love anymore. And I was like, holy shit. Okay. So I cut his hair in the kitchen. um, and I still had like the little pink clippers or like the trimmers that he had bought me. And always give him a hard time because I fucking hate pink. And he got me pink, and he's like, they were on sale. And I was like, I know, Dad, but like they were the good ones. And anyways, like they give her, yeah, he's just,
Fuck
but like
off,
I would
just
take my
take them.
right, but like I would meet him in when we went to Florida when I first moved up here. I went down and met him in Florida with my clippers so I could give him a haircut. Like that was always the thing. Like I don't care, I'll meet you there, give you a haircut. And then things went sideways at that old place, and then I had one. I had put in for a grant for um for single parents that I could have moved into a space in Grand Prairie, and it was like a $20,000 deposit on a place. But there's some speculations. It depended on like if you were yourself and like if it was a single mom and a daughter kind of scenario, you could only have 2 bedrooms. You had to live there for a certain amount of time. Your options were like a townhouse or like a standalone, blah blah blah. So there's like a lot of speculations. Anyway, I won this grant, and I panicked and told them no. My essay was amazing. But Brandy, it was very limiting in my head, and it felt very good, and I was very honored. But when I did the course that everybody else was in, I seen there was people there that were way worse off than me.
Yeah,
So I was like, thank you so much for your consideration, but I would like for you to give it to somebody else. Essentially, the house that I was living in had black mold. My daughter had asthma. I wrote it really well. I was very proud of my essay. Apparently, it won me things, but I passed it along because I was like, it doesn't feel like it's meant to be mine. So I told Dad, he's like, why would you just like not take like some time to think about it? I was like, because I knew it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know that I can go about this in a different way. I never really had the money to go do anything, and I had a dog at the time, so I'm like, I don't really know what the answer is yet, but we're gonna figure it out because Dad would always say is always figure outable.
Yeah.
So he's like, okay, let me talk to your mom, and like I was looking at houses, but I never really had a deposit. But Dad was like, okay, if you find a spot, let me know and we can maybe work out something because he had a lot of credit, and he's like, well, maybe depending on the budget, maybe I can gift you your deposit and we can work on a payment plan because that would that would help with his rebuilding of his credit, help me with mine for being a single mom and all those pieces. He's like, I would rather you owe me than the bank. Yeah. And he's like, it's never a hand out, it's a hand up. Yeah. It's a hand up. This is going to help. And if that's something I can do, then it's something I can do. He's like, I'm always worried about you, but I'm also not. Because I know you're fine, but I do worry about you being in Alberta by yourself. And
if you can help,
like,
you can help. Like, whether you're a strong, independent woman or not, you still can always use help.
Don't need no man, but also I'm also that idiot.
Help.
Right, 100%. But there's also those like times that I had put myself in like really like weird positions. Like I had moved a guy into the house, who I had barely known for a bit because he was going to cook for me and we had like dated for a little bit, and he's like turned into a crazy person. And then Dad was like, did you change your locks? And I was like, no. He's like, holy shit, Holly, change your fucking locks. And I was like, okay. Just like shit you don't really think about, right? And then they came and he tore up all the floors when I first moved into the house. Like, and then I remember doing like virtual tours with him and my realtor at the time, showing around like the houses because he wasn't physically here to help me. But like, yeah, so we made a deal that he was able to gift me my my deposit and I would pay him back. And then like if we had anything that had kind of had happened, like I think we had like the dishwasher needed replacing, we were able to kind of like add to that and like pay it back. And it was like a very great an emergency situation system as I try to rebuild life after becoming single. And I had so much debt prior to being single that I was like still like, oh fuck, like I thought about bankruptcy multiple times, and I'm like, there's got to be another way. And like Dad just was, he not just like financially, but like just the way that he also has said like one of his biggest regrets about raising us was that he never taught us financial literacy. That was his biggest takeaway.
Nobody does. So Lorne, listen, if you're listening, I'm sure you are, you fucking what else are you doing? Just kidding. But like straight up, I watch this show called The Financial Audit on YouTube. And
Yep.
he's unreal. He has like 2.8 million followers, and he just goes through people's spending, and everyone will say like, well, I wasn't taught. He's like, nobody was, like, nobody,
No.
which is so fucking weird. Like, you're teaching us math, but don't teach us how to fucking like do budgets. Okay, cool. So just gonna say, don't hold on to that guilt because none of us were taught. So, but it's something like if you've learned that you're bad for yourself, I know you always want to teach your children. So I imagine that he was like, oh, I learned that as a late adult, and I probably passed off some bad behaviors that maybe I could have rectified.
There's some, I don't think I took any of his like bad behaviors in spending. He was always that one who always had things on a sale. I will tell you though, when I first moved into the house and he was like trying to find like deals, I remember going, like, even now I have a hard time going to Rona because but first after he had passed, before he had passed, he said one thing that always stuck with me was like, okay, if you're going for like, if you're looking for 2x4, make sure that you continually check like the bin outside at the front of Rona, because usually they're like, you know, maybe like a little bit wonky, but they might be perfect and they're probably like a third of the price. So I remember like weeks after he had passed, I went to like the west side and got myself a Starbucks. And I went over to Rona, and I think I was looking for something specific, but I like looked over, seen the bin, and just started crying in the middle of the fucking parking lot over my coffee. And I was like, I guess I'm not going in there today.
Yeah.
We're not ready, and that's okay. But like he came up to help with the house when I first moved in here, but the same time frame was my the body paint project, and he came for my gala.
Yeah.
He surprised me. I was able to be here for my gala, and that was such a beautiful moment. And he was so proud. He turned around and shared everything to his friends on Facebook, and
Even
was
I
just like,
came to that one.
So yeah, you did.
But it's just really
like
cool to see, because I know that's a part of you that, like, again, he always fostered that creative side in you, and I think you always need that, like, as an artist, as a daughter, as a creative, like your parents recognizing your artistry, and whether that's through painting or photography or modeling or your hair, like, you know, just them recognizing that unique talent of your art is a whole different level than unless you're an artist. Just like I'm sure when you tell your, like, if you're a plastic surgeon, like, not a plastic, like a brain surgeon, and you tell your mom the first time you like replaced a brain or whatever. Just kidding.
Yeah, right. 100%. They're like, you know, did your first surgery, but like
exactly.
he just had a way.
Of.
He just had a way of being proud of me, like no matter what I did, and it wasn't just like the situations that I was in, because he had always been like, you know, it's not how you. It's not what the cards you were handed, it's how you play them. And it was very much like like you can, the only thing that's limiting you is yourself. And like very like, we always make jokes about him being an inspirational quote person, like a motivational speaker, which is why I did his book for that reason.
Yes.
I launched that, and just a genuine awesome dad, and I was so fucking lucky to have one, because I know not everybody gets to have that. And I know when he passed, Sean, okay, we're crying, but we're okay. He had made a comment about how his dad passed away when he was really little, and he also hasn't had very many great men in his life to share. Like he said, like his older buddy had been like the one who taught him how to shave and stuff like that. Like he hadn't had healthy men in his life. Yeah. And that was one that I was like, he was so lucky to have met Dad. And he had shared, like, you know, I'm going to try to take care of your girl like you taught me. And just like I'm still giving him shit, because when we went to Newfoundland after Raina was born, only 2 weeks after she was, like, we were 2 weeks postpartum, flew across the country, we're hiking, all this craziness. Sean got to go on boat with Dad. I got to go fishing, him and the boys. So we all got to go out on boats, and then the boys fucked off and went out on boat. And he even got my uncle out there, my brother, and he got to catch his own fish with my dad. And that night, that's how he kissed his own fish to be kissed by, like, kissed the pod to get screeched in.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't actually had the chance to be out on boat with my dad before, and I was like, "You fucker, you had that, and I never. How dare you?"
Now you have to hate him for the rest of time. Just kidding.
Right? But I'm still like, I look back now and I'm like so honored that Sean got to like to meet
Yeah.
him, and Dad really liked him. Like Dad
Yeah.
really liked him, and like got to see how he was with the kids. And he Dad was somebody also who very much found education to be super important. And I yes, but hear me out.
On your own terms.
Exactly. So like for example, like Sean, he never finished high school, and he believes that his work experience should, show more his real life experience because of his circumstances back then and those moving pieces. I am
Totally.
like I didn't understand his way of life because it was so very
Upbringing.
different.
Yeah, your dad was definitely hype, and I think that's why that's why it hit all of us around you, like not obviously as hard, but it's just
Yeah,
like
but hard.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's just like it's not, and like you said, back to your point, it's like not about a disrespect of one, like losing one, but if you just have a parent, you have a sibling, everybody has that one person that like just sees you for who you are. And me and mom were just talking about in the
Yeah.
last episode, like when she comes here, like she doesn't have to pretend to be not in pain, or like she can just be her full
Yeah.
self. And once you lose that person, it's not easy to navigate. And there's tons of places, and like it could be something as simple as a song or a smell, or someone's voice sounds like him in the background, or someone says something that was just like your dad coded or whatever, you know what I mean? And it's just like, I just think those are ways of him reminding you that he's still here, even though like I couldn't imagine like that's like going through all that. And you've done such a great job of navigating this. I'm sure you don't feel that way.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
it's not, I don't know.
Something.
Yeah, I think that if it's not that it matters, but I think if it happened 5 years prior, it'd be a lot different, Holly, right? Like you've evolved
Oh
so
yeah.
much in
Oh yeah.
the last 5 years, not like 5 years leading up to when he passed, that I think like
Yeah.
mentally it was just one when I said that. Mentally, I think you were in just a different space. Not that you were ready. I don't, no one's ever going to be ready for
No, no,
that,
no.
but
But I
just
get
more
you.
solid in who you are. And like, so yes, you had to be more self-sufficient without your dad hyping you up.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I feel like you were already on the path of doing that for yourself
Yeah.
before he had passed, at least. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like you
Yeah.
were really starting to fall in love with Holly and being who you
Yeah.
truly are, right? Without just him validating that for you.
Yeah, and I think honestly, I keep coming back to like after I had Reina, we had Reina, and then that fall we went into lockdown. And
Mm-hmm.
I think like lockdown, it might have been a blessing in disguise for
It
our
was.
household because it forced me to slow down when I don't slow down, right? So it forced me to slow down and kind of reevaluate everything. And then when Dad had passed, I I think for the first while I was still in denial, and I was having a lot of health issues leading up to him passing too. I had a lot of gallbladder attacks. So after he had passed, my mom was very frantic and everything was crazy. And she had said, I remember her saying, "We won't have his funeral until you can get home." And she fucking had it without me. And then I had to go and have my gallbladder removed. And like a couple of days later, I'm flying across the country with two young little ones post surgery to go home. That's twice to Newfoundland, where a post surgery could have get in the fucking ocean. Won't get into it. Um, but I also I got to say my goodbyes. But it didn't feel real, and I think it's because I never had that opportunity to say physically goodbye to see him. Um, but I wrote a little a piece, and I remember had asking my cousin, like, I know I can't be at the funeral. Um can I can I send something in? And they said no. And I was like, please, like, can I? And she said no. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, that's stupid because like how do you not be able to say something? Also, when it comes to one another thing that came to with Dad was also teaching about my kids, like teaching my kids about it because um Zadie was very fortunate. She got to have lots of time with Dad. She would go to home with Chris and stuff like that in the summer, and she got to go get to have that extra time with Dad, and they were very close. Raina never got to have that because um, everything was shut down. Everything was shut down. She never got to see them. I was like, counting down the days I got to see Dad pick him up from the fucking airport. He passed away a month to the day. Like, that shit is sad.
And it's so expensive now too. Like, not that flying across our country before the pandemic was cheap. Like, that was expensive in its
Oh
own.
no,
But after
it's
now,
cheaper to fly
it's
across
like,
the.
you could go to
Yeah, it's
Mexico.
cheaper. Yeah, I could go to Mexico. I could go to Ireland for cheaper. What the fuck is that shit?
I have
So,
no idea. It's
um,
insane.
so yeah, Reina has a really like both of the girls have a hard time with it still,
Of course.
and there'll be stuff like within the first couple of months, it was like it would break my own heart because I'd want to call him and they'd be like, oh shit, I can't, or I'd call him and then I'd have to hang up because I forgot, and then it's like, who do I know that I can like talk to about this? And nobody was really in a similar situation because I. I'm like, I don't even know what to do with that. But I remember there was a day that Sean was hugging me so hard and it was because I was just having such a shit day and I was missing dad and like all those pieces. I think it was probably July of when he was supposed to be here, and I think I still had it on my calendar that I was supposed to pick him up from the airport. And my mom still came up, so I was having a solid cry, and Sean comes over and hugs me, and Zadie was like, "Shawnee, what are you doing?" And he's like, "Putting back the pieces that you can't see."
So glad you have that.
Okay,
Okay.
okay,
We can keep
but like,
it now.
okay,
Okay.
okay.
Thank you.
So, just like learning with the kids
Navigate their
to like
grief.
navigate grief has been interesting because I don't want them to ever feel like they have to keep it in because I want to talk
Mhm.
about it.
Mhm.
And I said, sharing stories about Pop is what keeps them alive in our
100%.
memories.
100%.
And when we were home in August, there was some stuff that came up. My sister got married, so like stuff like that was like very it came with
Good
mixed
end.
emotions because of
Okay.
course that she would like her dad to be there,
Of course.
um there's some, but she was also like didn't want to make it all about him because she like that would be really
It's their
hard, and
special day.
it was emotional, and I got to bring the kids over to my pop's house. My pop's 92, and Zadie is spicy, and she's like, okay, well, like I'm bored. Why am I here? And Raina's young enough that she's like doing like puppets with Pop and stuff like this. And I take Zadie aside. I'm like, hey, honey, like what's up? She's like, it's not fair. And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, you get your Pop. I don't get to have that time with mine. And I'm like, you're absolutely right, babe. And I get that. It's hard. I was like, I wish Poppy was here too. I was like,
Yeah.
I miss him every day. There's not a day that goes by that I don't think of him.
Yeah.
And I think that's the hard part about grief is because it comes in waves. Because like I'll have moments that I'm totally fine, and I'll tell you a couple of things that I don't like Bob Dylan, but I added him to my playlist, and that's my dad's favorite. And
Fair.
every now and then it would be like, it would come on, and I'd be like, oh hey dad, or like, I got to. This sounds really woo woo, but I would share it. But I got to talk to him through Tramp. There's a lady out of BC who does Tramp, and I got
Wow.
to have a conversation with him. I call him on his birthday every year.
Oh.
And the first year that he had passed, I guess it was after a year that he had passed, because the lady had said, everybody deals with grief differently. There's a period of like 6 months or so that people, take to pass, and like for us to deal with our grief. And I called him, I wished him a happy birthday, and I was like a skeptic, right? Because
Yeah.
like I don't know how it's gonna go. I don't know if it's him if he says certain things, but it's also a different person talking and like
Totally.
different vocabulary. And
Just don't have
one of the
expectations.
right, I'm just like, I don't know how this is gonna go.
Yeah.
And he had said that I need you to tell the girl for me. I'm not just with them. I'm a part of them. If they ever need me, I'm always here. And look for me and the birds. And the birds will be like, I'm always there. Look for me and the birds, right? And it stuck with me. So after I was picking Raina up from preschool that day, and she hadn't heard me have this conversation or anything like that, right? And I pick her up, and she like looks over, and she sees this huge raven hanging up at the top of one of the buildings downtown. She's like, "Hey, mom, look over there, it's Poppy." And I was like, "What?" So now we look for Poppy and the birds. So every time we
I
see
just got
a bird
shivers.
that like anytime a bird comes close, there's a magpie playing with the dog on the like the dog wasn't barking, he was just like dancing along. The magpie was dancing along like the roof next door, and the dog was just like looking at it, and they were like playing and like weren't even barking. I was like, hey dad, um,
I
just
love
like,
that.
and then there's a bird in the bird feeder that was like getting really picky and was just like only pick certain food. I was like, you little fucker today. Um, but like you know
You
what
gotta
I
find
mean, and
those
like
moments.
So I think that there's like a lot of things that come with it that I never really would have considered. But like we look for him in different ways, and Raina's still really missing him, and
Yeah.
she's really still missing Cedric, like our dog that passed. And Cedric had passed away on Dad's birthday,
Yeah, that was.
and it was super traumatic and scary, and the kids still have nightmares, and like because he just was so sick so fast,
Mhm.
and like they don't have night terrors anymore, but Raina will still be like, I miss Poppy and my Uncle Wayne, which was his closest. Well, he's got some brothers, but they were like
Mhm.
the closest in the way of like looks and age and everything.
Yeah.
And he was like my last piece of my dad, and he had passed away less than a year later. Um, and she's like, I miss Poppy and Uncle Wayne. I miss Poppy and Uncle Wayne. And I'm like, okay, baby, but like remember, in sleep realm, you can go to sleep and you can, like bring them in a little bit and ask
Think
them to
about
come give
them.
you a hug. And when you're in dreaming, and then it was working for a little bit. And she's like, "Mom, I don't dream." And I was like,
Oh shit.
"Okay, yeah, right." Like, oh
Well,
shit. Okay, now what? Now what
now
should we
what's
do,
the
right?
next one? Yeah.
Because they're very, like, like I really miss Poppy, and I'm like, baby, me too. And sometimes it's just like we just have a cuddle cry together.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
sometimes we're mad, and then sometimes we'll like yell. We'll like use that our voices because we want to move those emotions, and I don't want my kids to ever suppress or feel.
Mm-mm.
Um, so I'm like very open to talk about it, but I also know not everybody is.
Yeah.
So we're trying to
Totally.
like
Navigate
find
that.
that balance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think one big thing is like misunderstanding is like, yeah, I obviously want to talk about like the details, but I don't think anybody that's lost someone would ever push away happy memories or a funny story or like your dad used to, you know what I mean? Like I think sometimes like people don't want to share happy memories because they're afraid to hurt that person, but sometimes maybe it's a piece of them that they just never knew, right? So I just always feel like
Yeah.
maybe just like understanding that everyone grieves different, and I always approach things
We
if they're
do.
heavy with saying like, hey, I have something, are you okay to hear it, right? Like, making sure they're in the right space. But like I don't think, if anything, I'm like, oh, remember that one time that your dad did that? Like I think you'd rather want to hear it than not.
Yeah. And you know what? I do now. I know when Dad first passed, I had there's something to do with like when you don't talk to people since like high school, and next thing you know they're like, "Hey, I'm so sorry I heard about your dad." I remember that time. Like there was people that I hadn't seen since high school or talked to in years who were reaching out to me. Oh my gosh, Holly, I'm so sorry for your loss. And I feel like sometimes that piece is a self-fulfilling piece. It's like
Yeah.
I'm doing this to feel better for myself
Yeah.
versus actually genuinely feeling like you want, like sometimes it's like they want to know what happened because our brains are curious and they want to know. But the other pieces are like, hey, I remember that time that we used to party together and he used to cook for us. I'm so sad. I'm really gonna miss him. He was really great. And I'm here thinking to myself, yeah, he was fucking great, but he was my fucking dad. Like, leave me alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like there was
Totally
those
fair.
pieces, and of course, like it comes in like different waves of, and it'd be like you're angry, and then you're in denial, and then you're accepting, but then like fuck this, and then you're like
Yeah.
okay, like it's never going to be in like a straight line
Linear. No.
ever.
No.
But I did notice like when I found out that my dad had passed, and I'm across the country from my actual like support system in the way of my family. I'm like how I was trying to find the right fit for me to have that extra support.
Hmm.
And I was like, I'm not one to go to church. No offense to the church people, but it's not my job. It's not my vibe. I didn't want to feel like I was going to like a grief circle in the way of like I didn't want it to feel like AA sitting in like a basement. Like you know what I'm talking about, like
Yeah.
the
Clinical.
dingy basement, very clinical, very
Hmm.
dingy basement, stale donuts and like coffee. Like, mandated is what
Yeah.
I was like, or I felt like I had to be at the church where they were like, "Oh, he's in a better place." Well, no, fuck you. He's not in a better place. A better place would have been here with me.
Yeah.
Is my thought process, right? Like
Yeah.
he would have wanted to see his grandbabies grow up, and then
Yes.
you're dealing with the grief of, I'm grieving for myself, I'm grieving for my kids, and I'm also grieving for the fact that he is missing out on being able to watch my kids grow.
Hmm.
So it's like grieving three different reasons for three different
100%.
people, and um it's a fucking beast. It's a journey. But I did know that like when I went looking, like even for grief counseling, I was matched with a therapist, and I thought it was a good match. But then at the end of the intake, he was like Godspeed, and I was like, that sounded like something what Dad would say, but at the same time, Dad would have said it with like a star Star Trek kind of vibe to
Yeah.
it. He was all very this guy was very gaudy, and I was like, oh, I don't think that's the vibe for Hollie G. Like, I appreciate your input, but I don't think I'll be back, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, so I remembered I sat with it for a while, and I was like trying to meditate, and I fucking hate meditation. We're trying, but my brain does not like to sit still. So I'll do like I'll do like a lay down with like meditation music, and I'll usually fall asleep. So there's this one day
I
that
have
I'm
to do
like,
guided ones, man. I can't. Don't leave me to my
yeah,
own devices. Don't.
right?
No.
So, and then I was like, okay, so I was like thinking, and I was like, okay, if I am so in my grief, there's going to be other people who are in their grief. So, like, if I can't find what I'm looking for, I could hear my dad be like, if you can't find what you're looking for, make it, create it. And I was like, holy shit. And I had full body shivers, and I woke up and I was like, what would that look like to be able to, like, I can hold space. I run energy anyway. I'm already doing some other healing modalities. So, like, what if? So I started playing with different ways of, like, if I was grieving, like, what's a good way that I could release those things? I fell down rabbit holes of trying to figure out researching, and, like, of course, with grief comes rage, and rage, that's kind of how my favorite rage ceremony came to be. It was actually from Dad passing.
Yes.
Because, like, oh, well, also all the things that had pissed us off in the years prior, that it was only like a matter, he was like the icing on top of the shit cake that had forbidden, like, I had seen my own health decline so bad from the anger that I had stored within my body, that if I didn't move it, I would have been very, very sick.
Very sick.
So, and I even still to this day, I'm very good at telling people how to, navigate, regulate your nervous system.
Yeah, you don't fucking listen to yourself, though.
Dude, I've been violently ill the past month due to stress, and I'm like, Holly, if I could take a dose of your own medicine, go chill the fuck out. So
we never listen to our own great advice, do we?
No.
Never.
Like, it's like, do as I say, not as I do kind of scenario. But
exactly. Some dentists have nasty teeth, okay? That's just the way of it.
It just is. It is, right? But I think that's kind of how kind of things kind of came to be. And I remember saying to somebody else, I don't want my whole thing to be about Dad, but he is a big why. I don't want it to be like that I do everything because of him, but he is a big factor because he was such a hype person, and such a like even when I was doing MLMs, he was still the first person to purchase things and host parties, knowing damn well, right? So, like, it was just like the wildest shit. It's just crazy. So I'm just like thinking, I'm like, all
supporting. That's what a parent should be, and I think that's what it's like. I have it with my mom, right? Where it's like I have no ill will to my real dad or my stepdad by any means, but it's just not the same connection that you have with your number one fucking cheerleader, even for like the stupidest things. It's like, and then after you do those stupid things, they're like, yeah, I knew that was stupid, but I'm still going to support. You're like, well, what the fuck? But also, too, your dad was also your biggest hype, but he also wasn't a fluffer. Like, he was real. You know what I mean? So it's just like, I feel like he kept you in check, too, right?
Yeah. But, like, I know that after Dad had passed, it was like, just how people even spoke to Zadie was different. And I know that some people were trying to be like, I am envious of those who have never had to deal with it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Totally.
Because there's a hurt that is hard to explain. And until you feel it, you don't get it. So I fill my pain with dark humor because like how else does one go with that, right?
I don't know.
So like last year for Dad's birthday, I went and got a cake from the co-op. I think I scared the shit out of the co-op lady, but I wanted Dead Dad's Club on it. So gosh. I turned it. It was a black cake with red writing that said Dead Dad's Club, and
he would like it.
He would have, right? He would have laughed. And co-op's got the best cakes in town, in my opinion. So I sat in my car eating this cake, and I took a video of it because I'm like, 2 years ago today, I became a part of a club that I never asked to be a part of. And I looked at Sean the other day. I was like, hey, babe, we're in the same club. His dad passed away when he was really little, and that's fucked up. And I know how messed up that sounds, but like, how
what
else
are you to do?
What are we gonna do? I'm gonna turn a dead dad joke in occasionally because he would have thought it was funny. He was also the dad of all the dad jokes. I took some of his motivational quotes and put them into a little like tabletop coffee style book
Yeah.
because they're just like so funny and so out there. He also had like a I'm gonna do a dad joke one too. That's my next mission. And
I need that one. I want that one for sure. That one's going on my Christmas list.
I just want to keep it, I want
Keep
to
his
keep
memory
his
alive.
keep this memory alive. And I think who was it? Was it like Macklemore who had said like, you die twice? It was like once when you put you in the grave, and the next when they stop
Put you
saying
in the
your
grave.
name,
Yeah.
or what? Something like one of those, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I never want my girls to grow up not knowing about how awesome he was, and
Yes.
I want to keep that memory alive. And but we're gonna still talk about the things, and yeah, and it might be hard to talk about, but we talk about hard things. We can do hard things.
Yeah,
I
and to
think
your
the
point, at
hardest,
the very beginning, don't bring it up. But I mean, like down the road, right? It's been a couple years,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Everyone's different, right? But like you said, keeping the memory alive and how that look, and grief is different for everybody, right? Like some people
yeah.
immediately, like maybe some people don't like how I've handled Benjamin's just being a little butthead. I shouldn't have let him in here. Is it stressing me out this whole episode? Um, like I I have dark humor when it comes to like miscarriage and stuff, and we've had that in our house. So it's just like it's everyone deals with shit differently. Oh my god.
Oh no, what did he do? I'm
He's right.
afraid.
He's right in the camera. Such a little turkey. Oh my god, he just right in the middle of the camera. You're gonna be a terror. Your children are being silly, my children are being silly. Anyways, yeah, it's just like sometimes like everyone grieves differently and there's different times, but I think to your point, like as time goes in an appropriate time, bring them up, keep their memory alive. And if that's by doing
Yeah,
a book or like one thing too that I really want to say just about the whole parent thing, and the parents are really bad, especially moms, and I know dads are bad at taking pictures too, but please take pictures with you and your children, even if you hate what you look like, because I lost people at a very young age, and one thing that I hold on to is their photos. And we came from a time
yeah,
we didn't have camera phones. It was a concerted effort to get a photo of anything or anybody at
yeah,
any time. And that is one thing that it's like videos and all of that. And like I've given my mom shit too. Like I know you hate pictures of yourself, but please, because like one day you're not going to be here, maybe. Like hopefully it'll be like I'm gone already and I don't have to deal with losing you. But anyway, you know what I'm saying? But
yeah.
like
Phyllis.
those
Yep.
memories, those pictures, those videos, those times, like candid pictures, all of that, take those things, write those things down. Because like you said, like in a fit of a moment where it's not normal, you delete a bunch of messages, and how the fuck were you gonna know that he wasn't gonna live past that? You don't, right? I'm not saying hold
Yeah.
yourself accountable, but just maybe in those, like don't be so quick to let go. I'm not saying you did this, but just a lesson out of
No, I
that
know.
is like maybe don't be so quick to do that, even if it is confronting, right? Like it's like
Yeah.
work through that too with them, like and just capture the memories and the moments while they're here.
Yeah, and I think that that's a big piece of it too. Like I don't know if I ever told you of how he passed, but it was like it was epic in
Not
his
on the
his own
show.
way.
No.
So, he was a liquor rep. So he used to go in and he used to like go check it on his like accounts of the liquor stores and stuff like that. And he was at the Sobeys, and like back home there's a liquor store attached to the Sobeys. He used the liquor
Yeah.
store, grabbed some groceries, walked in to check on the guys, and literally dropped dead in the middle of the liquor store. So,
No, I did not know that,
that
Lynn.
being said, it was a massive heart attack. Um, Took everybody by surprise. He was only 59. He wasn't even 6 years old. My mom and my sister got the call. My sister arrived with them doing like CPR on him on the gurney, going out the door. Um, when they had done like the I don't remember if there was an autopsy or anything like that done, but I think there was some testing done because he had a minor heart attack and they had put like a valve or something. They believe it might have been a valve malfunction, but they do believe that there was some other there's some scarring. So they believe that he had had multiple other smaller attacks and he had it seek detention because my dad was a fucking stubborn old man. And my mom deals with things in a different way. In other words, she's trying to make it make sense. So I know at one point she was like, "Do you think I should go like get healthcare?" I was like, "Mom, I feel like that is not going to get you where you want it. Like it's going to be something." I was like, "You also have to realize that she was at that time still working as a nurse," and I was like, "You're going up against
The
like
hand
a
that
company
feeds.
that you that feeds, and then you also have to realize like." my sister's still in the same industry, and then if
Mm-hmm.
you start, then it's like that could also affect her work.
Mm-hmm. Very much.
Um, and I think she's just trying to find a reason behind it. And I'm like, Mom, like sometimes there's not a reason. And I get it. And I was like, she's trying to reason, she's trying to bargain, she's trying to find things. And she's like, do you think he was cheating on me because he was super distant before he passed? It's just easier to be mad at somebody
Mm-hmm.
than it is to lose them. And I'm like, no, I don't think he was. I don't think that it was. She's like, he's just so distant. I was like, yeah, well, he was out around the bay. He was tinkering with his buddies, and he's out somewhere where he's not having his wife picking at him and asking him to slow down. And Dad was very much that person. He is like, he doesn't want to be told what to do. He does what he wants. I might know
Exactly.
where I got that from.
I don't know where.
He it was easier for him to be out with the guys than it would be for his, like, Mom was working nights, and so he would just go around the bay and hang out with his brothers and just like tinker and help with like house rentals. And he had
It's a
his
social
trailer and stuff
butterfly.
out there, just like a social butterfly.
Yeah.
But what else was he gonna do? Just sit at home while you were working, Mom?
Yeah.
But Mom was like, well, like, I don't know, like maybe he just overdid it. And I was like, you're probably right, he probably did. But also, like, have you ever had a near death experience, Mom? And she's like, well, no. And I'm like, we had a heart attack, and he probably scared himself like silly, and was like, okay, well, if I only have this much time left, for all I know, I might as well just go live it. Plus, you know, you're telling him like, how are you doing? How are you doing? Not like, not in the way of him, how are you feeling? Not how are you doing? You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
make
Surface
sure
level
you slow
questions.
down.
Yeah.
Make sure you slow down. Don't forget to da da da. And he was always being told that he has to do less when
Mm-hmm.
he's so used to doing more. So I'm like, how do you know that it was just, I think that, I can't relate in a way,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like okay, but like we don't really know where his head was at the time. So he might have, but it
Yeah.
could have just been like a little minor thing that he was like, okay, you know what, it's fine. But then with my uncle passing away like 6 months later, and he had like um he went in with like a cough and found like lung cancer, but then he had like a deteriorating. His shoulder was out of place, and he went in there. It was full of cancer. So like full of cancer. Like how would you not know that was like full of cancer?
Yeah.
And he he has grandkids and stuff like that, and so he didn't want to do chemo. He tried chemo, caught pneumonia, and passed away.
Oh, Jesus.
Like very very fucking quickly. So my conspiracy theory brain was
Mm-hmm.
that they made a pact. I think that they talked to each other, and because like my Uncle Wayne, my Aunt Sandy, my dad was with my Uncle Wayne when my Aunt Sandy passed away with cancer and stuff like that. He was this
Jeez.
person.
Yeah.
So I know my Uncle Wayne had made a comment like, I don't know how I'm going to do this without Lorne. I don't know how I'm supposed to do anything without your dad. He was my person because I was,
Oh.
they were each other's rock, right?
Yeah.
So um, my mom was like, when my uncle got sick, she was up here. She got the call, and she said, I feel like I should have told him to go find Lorne. And I was like, immediately, not without a beat, I was like, Dad was the one who was like holding his hand out, right? Like, that he would have found him.
Yeah.
There's no debating it, Mom. Like you know. So yeah, like grief is fucked.
It's,
Grief is weird.
I went through it at an early time, and I feel very like it feels crazy. It feels like different worlds. Like your whole world just
Yeah,
changes. Like you're in a
yeah,
different timeline almost. Like like things that you looked at before look differently. If that makes sense.
yeah, and it does. And I think like I feel that, and I feel like in other ways of grieving things that aren't even like not even like dad related, but like even when I was home for a visit, like Mom wanted me to help her with the house, and a lot of dad stuff is there, and then she's like, "Oh, your pop is 92, just so you know. Like, if this might be the last time you get to see him." And I'm like, "Who? Okay, for one, who says that?
Yeah, let's not say that. Let's not put that in
Not.
existence.
I'm in a glass case of emotions already. My sister's
Yeah,
getting fucking married. My dad
yeah,
died.
yeah.
My sister's getting married. And I get to see my 92-year-old grandpa. Like, you know what I mean? Like, come off it." And I'm thinking to myself, anytime could be the last time I see or hear from somebody. That's
Anybody.
what life has shown me.
Yeah.
And that also shows me, like, I remember my dad coming in when I was like, I was having a sleepover with a friend. I think dad had a couple of drinks. And he came in and tucked me in, and he's bawling and his like Lojo drunk sounds, right? He's just like, Holly, you gotta be a good human, okay? Just like, don't let the hard world make you harder. Being soft in this hard world is your superpower. And like just take care of yourself and everybody else. Like just keep doing good. it is just the weirdest, but I keep like going back to that because like I see my kids now in bunk beds, and I'm just like, yeah. And then I even have like on my whiteboard, being soft in a hard world is your superpower, because he never ever like I was always considered sensitive, and I was like
Mhm.
always so soft, but he was never one to make me feel bad
Weak.
about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was never a weakness for
Mhm.
him. He said it was my superpower because he he always said I was a people person. Now I don't necessarily believe I was a people person because in a
The right
way
people.
the right people are my but I
Mhm.
also found myself in really terrible situations because I was so kind that it would be taken advantage of. And I do believe that though me and my sister were still trying to navigate, like dad was our glue. So when it came to me and Aaron having conversations with my mom, it's different. It's like talking to somebody who's like a different language
Yeah.
because dad would always be our mediator.
Yeah.
He was always the one who would tell her what was going on. And then, but now it's like you ask mom something and it's just different. Like, and I know that she's
Trying to
grieving the loss of
navigate
her best.
that, of course.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to take away from that, but it was very
No.
much like you can't have a bad day without mom having a worse day.
Yeah.
And that was a really hard thing for me and Aaron to adjust to because we can't like mom can't hold space for us like we can hold space for one another, or dad would have been able to hold space for us when we're having a hard time. She's not a safe space for us to be able to share our feelings
Mhm.
to the full extent.
Yeah, to
And it's
process.
and not right now, and that's okay.
Mhm.
But learning that was really hard because you still wanna have that, but she
And a
wasn't able to
parental.
parent us.
Yeah.
She wasn't able to parent us in the way that we really needed because we lost our dad and she couldn't see anything past losing her husband.
Yeah.
Which, fair enough. I hope I never get to experience
Experience
that
that.
because, I'll be going to. I
Yeah.
say that, but like for real, like I can't.
I've,
I lost I lost dad and Uncle Wayne and Cedric in the span of a year.
yeah, that was a rough year for you. Yeah.
And yeah, yeah.
And not to be that way, but your life has exponentially, luckily, have expanded and gotten better at the simultaneously. You're still dealing with that at the same time, right? So it's like, I think people feel
Yeah.
the guilt of like, I shouldn't be happy because I'm still grieving this person, that you know what I mean? But it's like
Yeah.
both can exist at the same time. You can be
Yeah. I was
sad
just about to say
and
that. Yeah.
happy. People just
Yeah.
are so like black and white, and it's like there's so much gray though. Like you're not a fairy. You
There
can
is.
process one emotion, more than
Yeah.
one emotion at a time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I remember saying this to my sister because because I remember like I had these expectations of myself, and I
Mhm.
told myself I was going to be married and kids by 30. Girls still ain't married 35, right? Like we did it all ass backwards. So
I
I
did
was
it,
like,
but I
I
got
see,
divorced too. So does it count?
right?
Does it count? I did it,
And
but did
like,
I?
but like,
Second
see
time.
my sister, like my 8-year-old, like 8-year younger sister,
It's like,
get
hold up.
married.
The
Well,
fuck?
yeah, yeah,
She shouldn't be married at
8 years.
8.
Sorry, 8 years younger.
Younger.
Get it? I think she's like 8 years younger than me. I don't know. She's still in her 20s. Girl's younger
Yeah.
than me.
Oh,
Um, but like her getting
bless
married
her.
before me was like a dagger to the heart. But also, two things can exist at the same. Multiple things can exist at the same time. I'm like
So
so
many.
happy for her. Sad for me. Sad for the fact that our dad's not there. Sad for my mom. But like still so incredibly happy. And I got to like speak at their wedding, and one of their things was like, how lucky are we? And I was like, I don't consider myself lucky. I consider myself so incredibly blessed to be able to be here and witness this. And that just makes my heart so happy to be able to be a part of your guys' story and your lore, if you will. But
Mhm.
um yeah, and then to see similarities between our dad and her wife's dad. So like my
Oh,
sister-in-law's dad is very, very similar to dad. Um in like a lot of ways. Like he was just so kind, and he we got to spend a lot of time with him when we were in New Zealand back in August, and I could understand why they were such good friends. Like they were they were like two peas in a pod. They were so close, and yeah, I get it. I get it. They're super close.
yeah, and
Yeah.
that's so true though. And like there's so many emotions at once. And I think just because people can only maybe handle one at one time, and that's
Yeah.
understandable, right? And like there's just some people that can, right? There's just some people that can only see what's in front of them. And that's
Yeah.
everyone's different, right? But I think it's like it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just calling it what it is. Some people are emotionally intelligent. Some people aren't. Some people can read other people's energy. Some people are people pleasers because of that, which could be
Yeah.
good and bad things. Like, and when it comes to grieving, I've never experienced that to the level. Like I
Yeah.
lost a close friend that I was madly in love with when I was a teenager. I've lost some, but I don't understand that. But I can imagine it's a lot at one time. And I think the biggest piece is just having grace with yourself at the same time, realizing that time, it seems like the answer to everything healing is really just time. And it's not that it's going to get better or that you're going to miss them less. You're just going to understand life without them is going to become more of the normal versus life without them. So those moments where you can just jump into life and all of a sudden you get hit with the realization, happens, maybe it's able to be dealt with a little bit easier over time. I don't think it ever fully goes away, missing them.
I feel like I seen this really cool analogy a little while ago, and it was like, how like when you're like making like a cinnamon roll, and there's like ingredients in there that you're like, maybe you're throwing chocolate chips don't belong in a cinnamon roll, but like maybe you use like the analogy of like a banana loaf, and it's like grief will always still be there, and it will like shade things differently. You'll see things differently. Sometimes we'll be jaded about it. Sometimes you'll be driving down the road and you'll hear a song, and next thing you know, you're crying. But over time, it just changes. It looks different. So, like for example, like I noticed when I started holding my sacred rage ceremonies, it's been a couple of years now that I've been hosting them. But I've been adjusting them because not everybody wants to talk about it. Because what happens over time, if we're always just talking about it, sometimes we don't always feel like we're moving forward. And we feel like we're getting kind of stuck in it. And that's not the intention behind it. Like, yes, we still want to talk about what we're dealing with because it's important for us to be able to share our story. The sharing, I believe, also inspires others because once we can like talk about the subjects that aren't always being talked about, because grief is hard, grief is heavy, and when we find people to share it with, and another thing with that piece too, like I don't think there's anything specific about having like how they have like different support systems for say like if you lost children. I don't think that we have really one for lost parents. That's not related to the church, and no shade to the church, like I get it, but also the funeral home is having a root circle, but I'm cool with never walking into a funeral home ever again.
Right. Not a fan.
Like thank you for what you are doing, but that's not aligned with me. So I feel like over time it's kind of shifted. So like I feel like there's, depending on where you are within your grief journey, there's ways that we can move from the grief to find a way that it's empowering. Not saying
like
that it takes away from our story. It's not taking away from our hurt and our pain, but taking that and just really like moving it so that it can be powerful. So it can be it could be purposeful and repurposing it in a profound way so that it's no longer harming ourselves and it's not weighing us down, because that's sometimes of what it does. And like and sometimes when we go to like talk about it, like if you're going to like grief counseling and talking, like talk therapy is fantastic to an extent. Processing out loud is fantastic to an extent. But if you're not listening to what you're saying, or it's not, or if it's coming out because it's like it's almost like the rehearsed version of like, oh, how are things? Oh, blah 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 blah.
NPC
if it's coming
reply.
out rehearsed,
yeah.
If it's just like, and it's not in depth enough, you can't move it the same way. So you get stuck almost in like a loop of feeling like you're no longer moving ahead. So I have noticed like how, depending on how I have, like how many people I have, we don't always share. Sometimes we're just like moving our bodies. We're, I love a good yell therapy. Girl, yell, that's my jam right now. Oh, it's so good.
I do it, but I do it in like singing. Like,
okay.
Yeah, so
both
it's like
work. Yeah.
The vocal like, and there's just some songs that are just same thing. They'll come up on playlist, but I have a specific cry, remember people's playlist, and when the mood strikes and the run song comes on, I'll sing all of them and I'll belt them at the top of my lungs. And I'm usually
you know every
bawling.
word.
Yeah, I know every word.
Yeah.
And I'm usually bawling by the end, but it's just a therapy. It's a reminder of, you know, there was this one thing, Grant actually tagged me in it, which is like him leaving, so it's obviously not as permanent, but it was just like a Winnie the Pooh quote saying, isn't something to this effects of like, how lucky am I to know someone that I miss this much? Kind of same idea, right? Like it's, the pain is unmeasurable, of course, but if you can flip to the gratitude and the other thought of the mindset of like, how fucking beautiful that I got to love someone this much, that it hurts this much in their absence. Because unfortunately, there's some people in their lives that don't have, and easier to say, but on the outside, when you're spiraling, it's little things like that, being like, fuck yeah, I got to, you know, like, I got to be a part of that. I got to witness that. And it's so sad to see you not have that. And it's like, but at the same time, like, he's still there. I still see him. I still hear him through you, right? And through the girls. And I think you will continually have pieces of him. And even though he's not on this earth plane now, at least it's beautiful that you're a spiritual person that you can see beyond the meat suits and really be able to connect energetically with him on the other side. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. It's quite interesting. Like if I do breath work, I've gotten into the habit of like welcoming wow welcoming him. As a hard one. That was woo. Welcome him. Anyways, bringing him in as a part of my spirit team. I have been, and it was like very emotional for the first time that I had like welcomed him in to be a part of that, because I'm like, to be able to like have that is just so profound and different. Like I can hear him like cheering me on through like different like spiritual woo woo things, and it's just like, and I can hear him be like, oh yeah, get it girl, you woo woo, you know, like, oh that's that woo woo shit, right? Like he'd always like give me a hard time about it, but now I'm like, okay, but like, you know, you're doing the things, and it's I don't know how to explain it. It's just like I just, you know, it's fucked up because I would love to hug him.
Yeah.
But then I also have these friends who would reach out and be like, hey, the anniversary of your dad's coming up on like the 9th. How can I support you? And I'm like, to even have anybody ask of how to support has already been like, I have created a really incredible support system for myself at this point. You know what I mean? That we can have communication that is meaningful and not just like, oh my God, hey, or like we should totally hang out sometime. It's like, hey, I know this is coming up. How can I support you? You know, I have a girlfriend who's like, hey, can I get my hair done on, you know, this is my day off. I was like, hey, it's also my day off. It's Dad's death anniversary. So here's the deal. Come with coffee and cupcakes and we can totally do your hair. And she's like, oh, like we don't have to. I'm like, no, because I don't have anything else going on. And I don't want to be sitting home alone and crying. Yeah. And I need something. And I was like, and he never had the chance to meet this friend either. And I think he would have really liked her. And I'm like, you know what? No, like, I think he would have enjoyed me doing, for one, what I love, that he very much encouraged me doing, and with somebody that I care about. And I think that would have been more of a celebration for him versus sitting home and, you know, wallowing in sadness, because that's not really going to get me anywhere anymore. You know, wallowing in sadness serves a point. We're going to let those emotions flow. We have
our seasons. We're allowed to have that in the dead of winter.
Right, but now when like the sun is out and we're like less sad, and we just see him everywhere, and it's pretty wild. But yeah,
I think you honor him I think you celebrate him by honoring your true self. And I think it's a hard thing to think of, just like, wow, just being myself and loving myself is honoring my dad. But that is what it is, because that's what he's always reminding you of, right? Like, it was that, like, doesn't matter how crazy a thought was, or a dream thought, or an idea. Maybe you just did it once or twice and it's not for you. Like, he just supported that. And I think just now you've honed in on who that is. And so I think for you, maybe that stings a little bit more because he's not here in this meat suit to witness that, because he harbored that for so long. And it's kind of like, Dad, I'm here. Like, I've made it. I made it back to who I should be, who you've seen me be all along. And like, I know you're here, but it's a very fair to grieve the physicality of not being here. And I think everyone gets to have that. You can scream about it. You can sing about it. You can write it in a journal. You can go to the gym. You can, you know, just don't do destructive things like drugs, and like, to a degree, like, you know, smoke your pot, whatever. do some mushies, you know, like whatever you gotta have to pipe a line of time to time, but don't make it like a part of your spiral to make it worse, right? Like we all have our
Yeah.
escapes, we all have our things, but honoring who you are to the core is what's going to keep him alive, because that's a part of you. He is a part of
Yeah.
your identity. He's just in your head now, and the rest of us don't get to hear him as much as everybody as they used to. Even though
Apparently,
I still hear him.
unless you're with Alex in the studio and me, and I'd be like, "Hey, Dad, knock it off," because she'd be like, "Hey, life isn't fair." I'm like, "Shut up, Lojo." Or
Just
like,
channeling through her.
you'll hear me occasionally say some stuff that Dad would have said of like one of his biggest things were like, you can't always get what you want. So like when the kids do it, he used to sing it in like his terrible singing voice. But now I have all like a bunch of the Rolling Stones on my playlist now too, because I'm like, I miss that. Like it's so interesting too, because it's taken me like what, I'm 35, and I think I'm 35. Yeah.
I don't know
I
anymore, man. After
But
30,
like
it all goes downhill.
it's taken me like a really long time, because I never liked Bob Dylan growing up. I never liked the Rolling, like I liked the Rolling Stones, but like not enough. But like Dad would always like butcher them and be like, you can't always get what you want when you wanted something, and life wasn't fair, and you wouldn't, that would just be the annoying dad response of like, you can't always get what you want, Holly. And then he would sing it, and it was just like he would do like his like a little white dad barbecue dance move
White girls.
of like just like he like no rhythm whatsoever, and those are the things that I fucking miss.
Yeah.
And it's like, man had no rhythm.
No, he's
He
a
had
typical bad
zero.
dad joke. Like he was that. Like
Oh
if you
God,
looked in Webster Dictionary of what like a bad dad joke fellow would look like, it's like
dad, yeah,
like King
Lorne.
of the Hill, and like that's like the white New Balances, the jeans, the
Yeah.
tucked in t-shirt, you know.
100%.
But the biggest fucking smile on earth though, and the best,
Always.
most contagious laugh too. Like
and the laugh that would be like a snort laugh that would turn into a silent laugh. It was like like almost like a seal laugh, and you'd be like, "Oh my God, is he okay?" And just like, yeah, right, just it's just, yeah.
And those moments are there. Those are the ones, right? Like that's going to be up and down. And I guess to like end this, even though I don't want to end it, but we're at 2 hours. I think the kids are needing you. My cats are going crazy. But if you had a suggestion of just like what has been the biggest takeaway managing this grief journey without your dad?
Oh, that's a little bit of there's a lot of wow. There's a couple of different pieces of that one. There's a lot of different little pieces apparently. But I'd say to be present with your kids. That gave me full body chills, but like not just like present as in like sitting in the same room with on your phones. I mean like soak it up, do the dance parties in the kitchen. I caught myself. I seen Sean and Raina. Raina was dancing on his feet in the kitchen, and I used to do that with my dad. And I was like, I get to relive this in a different way, and it's just so fucking beautiful. And it's just like I never thought I would get to have to like see it, again, kind of thing. It looks different, but yeah, there's going to be like a lot of things that come out that are going to just look similar but different. And just like, yeah, just like turn off your phone, put it away, and just like be with your family, and have some grace with yourself, because that's the biggest piece. Like I was so hard on myself with how I caught myself comparing of like, well, what if I had done this? Or what if I had done this? Or what if I apologized for that thing when I wasn't even needing to apologize, but maybe if I did that, you know, what if I had like said, if I had asked more questions the morning of, maybe I would have, convinced him to go to the doctor and he would have been okay. Things happen that don't have any reason to it. And I think that's the hardest part, because our human brain just really wants to add a reason to it. Yeah. We want to make things make sense all the time. And the thing is that not everything needs to make sense. So like how my mom was trying to find peace in the fact of like it's easier to be mad. Well, like we don't want to be mad, because what's that gonna do, right? It's just being okay over time in whatever ways feel good. It is giving yourself the grace and the ability to not be okay at the same time, to be able to move those emotions and
in a healthy way.
in a healthy way. And I know, like, for myself, I moved right back into work. I recognize that. I needed that distraction. And for
I mean, it's
some,
not
that's so,
cocaine or crack, so like could be
yeah,
worse.
like pick your poison. I also noticed for myself that I knew that alcohol might have been an issue for me because alcohol was a big focus of Dad's career. And I caught myself drinking before I was giving myself like the liquid courage to have a conversation and say my goodbyes. And then I thought, shit, if I have to be like
Numbed
half
out.
intoxicated and numbed out to say my goodbyes, I've got to keep myself in check because that's not something I don't want to go down that road because I also still want to be able to show up and that there's a potential there. So I stopped drinking for a while because I was worried that could have been
A
worse.
trigger. Yep.
A trigger for sure. But it's just find your people who you can have these conversations with. It's going to be the hardest piece because that early on, it might be hard to have reminiscing stories because the hurt is still so fresh and so new. But know that the people who love you are going to accept you in all the ways, shapes, and forms that you are. The hot mess, the chaos, all the pieces. Your true people will not expect you to dull yourself down and make yourself digestible. That's not the way of life. And if they are expecting that, they're not your people. No. I know for a long time I was always making my grief smaller than what it was, so it was more comfortable for others. In reality, sometimes you're not going to be able to find the right words. You're not going to. Don't tell anybody who's grieving. Everything happens for a reason. We might throw punch you. Because that's a very terrible answer. And he's in a better place and also fuck you, don't say it because I will punch you. And just like honestly at the end of the day, if you know somebody who's grieving and going through some stuff, send them fucking groceries. I can guarantee you that's not something that's remotely on their like on their list. In their thoughts, cook them a meal, send them HelloFresh, send them Superstore, Instacart, or their favorite,
Instacart dinner.
or you know what I mean, just like send them something,
supportive.
grab their, just something supportive so that you can. Like, flowers are great and all, but they die. So my go-to is always like, if you don't know what that looks like, bread, milk. Cereal.
No one says
that
no
we
to
can get so far
goods.
with that. Yeah, baked goods, something, because it can guarantee you that
they're not thinking about the basics.
We're not thinking about the basics at that point. We're in survival mode. And even like money's a hard one because if you're grieving, you're already so deep in things. You probably miss work. You probably miss other festivities and stuff like that. Gift cards, any type of that. If you're trying to support a person who's grieving. Think realistic in that way. And I know that's hard because a lot of people they don't know what to send, but like well wishes are fantastic. If you can send groceries, maybe even like a couple of girlfriends together and be like, hey, we're thinking of you, here's supper. But that would be my advice for somebody if you're seeing one of your friends struggling with grief. And then my other one is if you're dealing with grief yourself, is to like know that you're not alone. Even though it feels really fucking lonely, you're not alone. It just looks different. It's meant to look different because it's so personal. And it is the leftover of all the love that we have for somebody that we have nowhere for it to go. So it is a beautiful thing to be able to grieve. It just feels really fucking gross.
Yes,
and it will. And it won't go away. And I would love to be like, hey, you know what? One day it's going to be like so much better. But it's just going to look different and you're going to become stronger and it's going to mold you to the version of your future you. And I don't know what that looks like, but you do. And because you already know the things, that sounds really warped and fucked up, but
you already know the whole thing and why are we even here? We're just a fucking hologram. Who cares anyways? It doesn't really matter. We're all NPCs. Just kidding.
Well, we are floating on a rock in space.
Are we? Because I heard that we actually don't touch anything, that water isn't actually wet, it's cold, so that's how we know that it's wet. Yes. So this isn't real. None of this is real. Yeah, so like quantum, and people very much, I'm sure, will correct me, but we don't actually touch things on like a quantum level because it's like all energy, right? So we actually are feeling the resistance of other things or something to do with science. But what basically the idea is that we actually don't know that something is wet. We just know that it's cold or something like that, like because we don't actually touch it. It's just what the feedback is that are, I don't know, it's just I'm too much of a stoner and I don't understand science, but basically we're all not real and we're just thoughts. So
Okay.
I'll send you some chat GPT things. TikTok is
Okay.
a hell of a place, man. Have you got on TikTok yet?
No, I have refused. I've
I'll
lost
try
time.
and
I told you
download.
my TikTok story. I fell down the rabbit hole and I was a lesbian kink TikTok because I was like
Right.
liking everything that was, yeah, and then I couldn't get out of it, and now I have to create a new account, and then I was like, I don't know. It
That's
feels like I
fair.
would lose so much time. I don't have any self-control.
This is true and this is fair. I think I just shifted from Instagram to TikTok just because it's just more in-depth stuff and it's just like longer. So I'm not just like caged to the minute or 2 minutes. I'm just like, oh, this actually has information that my
Oh,
brain can pertain to. It's like, I don't know. I prefer YouTube. That's where I spend all my time is YouTube. Don't
that's
forget to
fair.
follow
I
me
get
on
that.
YouTube. No, I'm just kidding. But this is obviously a service and a thing that you help people through, and that's what I want to get to too, because not only are you going through it
Yeah.
yourself, you help people through. So before we leave today, where can we find you?
So I am currently on Facebook and Instagram. My handle is the HG, so like Holly George, experience. I think on my Instagram there's a dot between
Hmm.
the and the HG and the experience piece.
I'll
I do a
tag
lot
it
of
in the
things on there.
Instagram.
Yeah, yeah. So so I do hair and healing and handmade on that. I combine all my business into one because it's a
Oh, I lost
reflection
you.
of me. Uh-oh.
Did your headphones die? Well, I guess that's ending the episode because I don't know
Ah!
what to do. Is it starting a new one? I don't know. It says recording has stopped and it's uploading all of ours, but then it still is recording. Okay, let's just pretend that. What does this one say? 2 hours. Okay, well, we'll just pretend we're at the end of the episode. Maybe it was me. I don't know what. I must have died then. You didn't die. You can
I
hear
don't
me.
know. It's weird. It's still recording on my end.
Okay, well, anyways, I guess that's it. So we found your handle. That's where we ended it, and so we'll just say goodbye now. I guess. Thank you for joining me
It's
today.
so weird. Thank you for hanging out, girl.
Yeah, I guess until next time. Bye, guys. Thank you guys so much for listening. I truly appreciate the support. If you like this episode and you want to hear more, please follow the Be Real Babe podcast on Spotify, Apple, and Rumble. You can also find me at the Be Real Babe podcast on TikTok and Instagram. Until next time, guys. Bye.